and grew up a White Sox fan. So
he has been swayed.
Yes. So I think
Okay.
that is what it is.
You think that is factoring into this?
Yes. And by the way, as Ryan texted me, I should have known this. You can actually hear Game 1 of the Bravos and the Brewers on ESPN 94.9. So
Okay. Who's tossing for the Braves in Game 1?
Tonight, I think it's
You don't even know.
Max
I
Fried?
don't.
You feel
Yeah,
you're wearing a
Fried.
Braves shirt. You don't even know who's pitching. It's
I
Charlie
think
Morton.
it's Martin. Morton today, Fried tomorrow.
Yeah, you see, you're on top of this series. I can tell. What time's the start? Go Braves! What time's the start?
I think it's 3.
It's tonight.
I think Smoltz is pitching.
I think it's Chipper. Chipper's not in there. Chipper's out tonight.
Fred McGriff.
Boy, you are all over this series.
I'm nervous.
We'll make sure we check into the Braves desk and get some updates from you.
They played. I was at Pitbull last night, okay? Sorry. Cut me a break.
Well, I think we need to discuss something, Chase.
Wait a minute. You're the one who jumped out there with you wanted to make a
said go
point to
Braves.
Braves, yeah, woo!
I
knew
know,
it was
but
in the-
Darren, I think I put my finger. I think I put my finger on what's going on. Okay, in the studio, I've been noticing some things. Chase has been saying some things, and I meant to say something. Darren, you and I probably should have discussed this off the air, but Chase is having a little recovery problem. He's coming in moving slow a little bit. Remember we talked about the other day, he had the overlap of the caffeine. He had the morning coffee overlapping with the afternoon soda.
About 136 ounces of.
He had a couple of,
just a
extremely
lot of
large.
caffeine.
And that was my first red flag. But there's been a couple others since then where it's just, he just looks like he's moving slow. He's saying, and then, we goes to the Pitbull concert. There was another, went to the wrestling event.
I did, yeah.
You're just not bouncing back like you used to. I feel like, age is starting to catch up a little bit. I think we need to talk about recovery.
I need to get on the Derrick Henry recovery program because that seems to work well.
Cryogenics,
the sand pit, things like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm at that point where I'm realizing I don't bounce back like I used to. So.
And Darren, the first step is admitting you have an issue, and that's the good thing. Chase kind of came to me the other day and he said, I'm just not bouncing back.
Mm-hmm.
So now after the Pitbull concert, that's why I think he could not get the start time of the game correct, and the starting pitcher. He thought that Charlie Liebrandt was pitching today.
Well, I mean,
the wires are just starting to get crossed.
You say the first step is realizing, realizing it.
Darren's not going to go with you.
Yet, as we sit here, he's gone to wrestling on Monday night.
Yeah.
He went to Pitbull last night. I mean,
but you have to go to these things to understand that the next day it's just not coming back.
Until this week.
Yeah.
Well, he was already showing a lot of signs.
Yeah, he was worried about it yesterday going into the Pitbull
The troublesome
concert.
signs were there. They were there.
They were there. The red flags were out
we had already been talking about a group intervention. I mean, that was already in play. It hasn't happened, but it's been discussed.
Well, listen, Charlie Morton.
Charlie Morton. Yeah, thanks. Is there an echo in the room?
Ozzie Albies is going to play second, in case you were
the
wondering.
3:37 start. Yeah.
Is Glenn Hubbard in there somewhere?
No, he's not. He coached third for a while.
I mean, just what an awkward start to the show. Go Braves! Whoa! Yeah! Let's go Braves! What time do they play today?
Well, I thought.
Is it today?
I thought it was
game 3
Charlie,
today,
and then I kind of second guessed
who's
myself.
pitching?
Did they play last night?
They did not. They did not play last night. It's Charlie Morton. I have faith in Charlie Morton.
You have faith,
even though Corbin Burns.
Even though you did
good.
5 minutes ago, you didn't know he was pitching. You've got faith in him.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's good.
Hey, go Guardians! Okay, hope they do well. Hope their tea time is not too early.
Oh boy, you know what?
Well, they are actually in a little bit of. They're taking some heat. You probably haven't seen this story. They presented it like they're doing a good thing, and you understand why, but then you're like, but this goes on for. So they're going to sell. They came out and said, we're going to sell all of our Indians merchandise, and it's going to go to, a Native American charity, So it's like, oh, okay, curl.
Okay.
You clear the racks,
Yeah,
clear
yeah.
all this stuff we've got.
Not
the
don't let
Indians,
things go to waste.
Yep.
right? But there was a little hook and a little catch. So this is where they've gotten some flack for it. It's not until supplies runs out. It's just we're gonna keep selling Indian stuff. And give the proceeds to Native Americans.
Okay.
And everyone's like, oh, so you're gonna keep making and producing?
Well, I
Mass
guess it's
producing
a continuous revenue
Cleveland-
stream to the right cause. I guess is how you spend it.
I know, but I mean, if you've gone away from it,
I mean, the Washington football team, like, you
is
can't
not
get
still right.
you
They're not
can't get
still
Redskins.
mass producing Redskins
Yeah.
stuff that they're giving to Native American charities.
No, I mean the only thing is when the fans chant "Hail to the Redskins," but
So
that's it.
my guess is that will not last. It has not gone over well.
Okay.
Like,
You had me at the beginning,
right.
Like,
So did had everybody. Like, that's all
Yeah.
right. Cool. Like, hey, don't let this stuff go to waste. Don't send it to third world countries. Sell it. Put it to good. Put it to use.
Good use, yeah.
But then they're like, yeah, no, it's not just until everything's gone. It's like we're just going to keep selling stuff and we'll give proceeds.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd be curious what obviously you and I like Homage, the T-shirt store that's based in Ohio, and they make vintage T-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would they? I mean, I feel like there's some gray area there because you would think they would make vintage Cleveland stuff, but
well, they do.
are they going to continue to make?
Yeah, I don't
Indians?
know. I don't know. I don't know.
Because I mean, I've seen some stuff in that store that even have, was it Chief Oahu?
Sure.
Yeah.
The companies that have the rights, are they allowed to keep selling?
I would
They've
think so. I
paid
think-
for the
Yeah, I
rights.
mean, I think it's up to them.
These are all good questions. I do not know the answer.
No, I don't know. I don't know the answer either. Pretty interesting. But, yeah, like I said, it started off good, and then with the little hook at the end, they're like, huh. People started going, I'm not sure I think that's a good idea. I'm not sure that's going to go over well. And it really hasn't gone over well. So we'll see if that continues. My guess is it probably won't.
Yeah, no, I don't think you
It's
can.
probably not going to go over. They're going to take too much heat, and we've already had a puck
Yep.
come within 20 feet of us.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
already.
going to get hit.
Right now, we got Ben Vanderclock. He's working Connor Ingram here,
The
doing some
goalie
individual
coach
drills.
And Connor Ingram,
Yeah.
we've already had a puck come our way. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we got to pivot. Chase, I
Yeah,
think
I'm gonna-
you're in peril. I think you need to swing
I'm
around.
going to move.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm excited about Steve Avery pitching tonight, so be good.
Steve Avery.
Um,
All right, we will come back. Seth Wickersham on the other side. He's got a book that's getting a lot of people's attention coming out next week. We'll tell you all about it on the other side. As you listen to Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game. Appropriate music coming back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. We're live here at Centennial Sportsplex. It's where the Predators are practicing. Final preseason game tomorrow as the Predators host the Carolina Hurricanes.
All right, let's ask Darren, a huge Star Wars aficionado. What is the name of this song?
We've got a guest on the line.
Yes, I know. I just know.
We're not
I just want to know if you know.
Nerdy Star Wars trivia.
Come on.
No, we're not.
Join me.
We can do that after our guest.
Okay. You have until the end of the interview
My
to
gosh.
think about it. I just want to know if he knows.
Our show is presented by Creation CBD. Creation CBD, products curated for life. Let's say hello and good morning to Seth Wickersham. He's a senior writer at ESPN, and he is the author of a book that is coming out next week. You've probably already heard the buzz about it. It's Better to Be Feared, and he now joins us. Seth, good morning. How you doing?
Gentlemen, it's great to be with you guys, but I have a question. What is the name of the song? I want to hear the answer.
Okay. That's why I throw it out there. It may not be quite as obvious as you think.
Seth, I'm warning you, if you go down the Star Wars rabbit hole with Willie, it's
easy.
It just the show gets sidetracked. It really does. Willie, you going to answer it?
The Imperial March.
The Imperial March is correct.
Chase, look at you.
And then sort of maybe in the parentheses, the Darth Vader theme. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Chase, all right, look at you. Nice recovery.
Nice job,
You went
Chase.
to Pitbull last night. Now you recovered.
Yeah, now the brain waves.
It's the second segment.
That's right. It takes a segment.
Yeah,
it takes a segment to get going.
He is ready to go.
Shake
Good.
off the cobwebs.
So, Seth, there's much anticipation. Of course, we had the big Sunday night game between the Bucs and the Patriots. Tom Brady returning to Foxborough. Huge ratings, huge anticipation. And now you've got this coming out. So I'll just start with the usual stuff. Where was, when did you hatch all this? When did you start thinking about all this? And I've got to be honest, when you think about the subject matter, for a guy that grew up in Kentucky, I think it would be easier to get into Fort Knox than to have enough material to write a book about the Patriots.
Thanks, guys. No, the publisher came to me with the idea, but I had one of my very first stories at ESPN Magazine was in November of 2001 when my bosses sent me to Foxborough, Massachusetts, to interview the young quarterback who was filling in decently for Drew Bledsoe and would probably return for the bench to the bench. He'd had a good month, and I went and met Tom Brady at the old stadium. I don't know if you guys remember that. I mean, it was like a high school stadium, and Brady was 24 years old. He was wearing a gray sweatsuit with a backpack that was full of beer because he had lost a bet on the Michigan State game. And, I will never forget, he said in that meeting with us, he said, football has always come easy to me. And the reason why I tell that story is because, I just started covering the Patriots and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick around that time. And there are so many moments like that you look back on now, and they mean something completely different than they did at the time. At the time, I was a young man, too, and I was just like, who is this guy? Well, who says that? Football's always come really easy to me. But now, of course, you see it, and you see that Tom Brady understood himself better than anybody ever gave him credit for. And so with moments like that, and moments that I've reported and other things that I've done as an investigative reporter at ESPN, I just felt like that I could tell a good book about how their greatness was achieved and what the cost of that greatness was.
And let me just say this, Seth. Back in January of 2004, the radio station sent me up to, it was actually Providence is where the Titans team hotel was going to be, and sent me up there for the week to cover the Titans-Patriots playoff game.
Was that the one that was so cold? It was like so cold.
Oh, yes. Yes, yeah. It was absolutely. The morning of the game, I'll never forget stepping out of the team hotel. Jeff Fisher was walking around downtown in Providence, and it was like 40 below. And I was looking going, Jeff, what are you doing? But just so you know, the night before, like all the stories you've heard about the team hotel, the opposition, the fire alarm getting pulled at 3 o'clock in the morning, It's true. I was in the team hotel. The fire alarm did get pulled at 3 in the morning. All that stuff you hear is true.
That's awesome.
So, it's stuff like that. That is the intriguing part about the Patriots dynasty, right? They are a lightning rod topic. There's no way you can say anything. You say Tom Brady, you say Bill Belichick, you say the Patriots, anything associated with their dynasty and their 2-decade run, basically, people have an opinion one way or the other, whether they are all in on what they've done and their accomplishments, or it's the black cloud stuff, right? It's all the cheating, all the negative stuff that anybody could come up with. I think that's what's fascinating about them is all the stories, everything. Everybody's got an opinion. You don't go, Patriots. I don't really have a thought on them. Is that part of the intrigue of
absolutely
and covering the Patriots?
And I go deep into those. Those scandals for which they were punished for the NFL. And there's one little story in that I'll tell that, always kind of makes me smile because it's revealing of how the NFL works at the very top, and especially among how the best coaches think. And that's 2007, Spygate breaks. And Roger Goodell is trying to educate himself on 7 years of rule breaking in a matter of days. And he's talking to every GM and head coach that he can get on the phone, and they're just crushing Bill. It's the height of piousness. This guy's a serial cheater. You got to come down on him hard, yada, yada, yada. Then he talks to Mike Shanahan of the Denver Broncos, who at the time, remember, Belichick was the reigning genius, but maybe Mike Shanahan was next in line in that regard. And Mike Shanahan, rather than burying Bill, ends up explaining Bill in a weird way. He says, Roger, I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't think to film signals, and I would have done it in a New York minute because nobody has ever gotten in trouble for them before. You don't know what the punishment is, and having the signals is everything. He said, Peyton Manning is the best at stealing signals, and if you don't change your signals or if they know what the signals are, you are dead. And he said you cannot come down and say that Bill's a bad guy. He's just better at it than everybody else is. And I thought that was just really revealing about the mindset of the most competitive coaches in the league, that, here was Mike Shanahan not responding with that piousness, but instead responding with like envy and honesty.
We're talking to Seth Wickersham. It's Better to Be Feared is the name of the book. We're talking about the dynasty of the Patriots. So, Seth, where do you think the whole mentality of, people will define it in different ways, as we've discussed, but just trying to find the edge behind the scenes, trying to look into every rule, figure out the thing. Who is the mastermind along with Bill Belichick? Where did it start?
Well, it was Ernie Adams, but, these two men, some of the coaches over the years have likened the Patriots to kind of like Enron, right? It's like, you get away with everything until you can't. And maybe there's some truth to that. I also think that there's like an aspect of, you'd want these guys doing your taxes if they were CPAs, because they would find every loophole until they get closed. And I think that they're both more shrewd and just smarter than everybody else. And Bill Belichick has been in the NFL basically since he graduated from college. I think he was 24 years old when he started at the Baltimore Colts. He knows more about the rules and the evolution than the officials do. And so whenever there's a rule or there's a loophole that's filled or whatever it is, he figures out the next evolution to exploit. And you do see at times where people use tricks that he used against him. And one of the examples of that was when the Titans beat the Patriots in the playoffs 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And remember, Mike Vrabel used Belichick's clock-killing trick against him, where he was getting those penalties on purpose, knowing that the clock would run. And, man, Bill was upset about that.
He sure was. And that was one we talked about a lot. Was there one breakthrough, Seth, can you go back, maybe even before the spotlight was on this issue, where they figured out, we have something here? Was there a particular game in the the early part of Belichick, or even before he was with the Patriots?
Have something here? You mean in terms with knowing Brady?
An example of a loophole. Yeah.
Oh, a loophole. Well, clearly they were taping signals, and Bill considered that not necessarily a rules violation, even though the league warned them to stop 3 times, but. Speaking to the other side of things, how I heard your question about Brady, definitely in October of 2001, they played the San Diego Chargers, and they were down 10 points in the fourth quarter. And this was Brady's third start, I think. And Brady ends up rallying them to win in overtime. And that was like the first glimpse that they were like, we really have something special here. Because one of the things I write about with Brady is both how a lot of people spot his greatness early in life, and then a lot of people were unimpressed, as we know. And when he was a rookie with the Patriots, he would stay late and throw in what were called opportunity periods, and he would just throw passes in the dirt. The coaches who would coach offense and defense would actually bet money on whether Brady would complete passes, and the people who bet that he would throw them incomplete more often than not ended up winning those bets. But the one thing they noticed with Brady at the time was just that he was so competitive he couldn't leave the field until he had completed a pass or felt like he was leaving on a good note.
We're talking to Seth Wickersham. He is the author of It's Better to Be Feared, The New England Patriots Dynasty and the Pursuit of Greatness, which is going to be out on October 12th. And I don't think this really surprises anybody when Bill Belichick plays deny, but he's come out saying he doesn't know who you are, he hasn't talked to you, all those things. Why do you think he continuously goes down that road of, even though everybody knows he's lying, he's standing up at the podium and he's lying about something, but yet he continues to double down and do that?
I don't know. One of the things that you noticed, so I do a lot of investigative work for ESPN, and I've done things on the NFL
Sure.
and the NFLPA and various teams and the anthem, problems with Trump in the fall of 2017. And one of the things you realize when you do a lot of these investigative reports is that people come out immediately and they deny, or they call it fake news or whatever, and then the reports end up getting not only validated over time, but often expanded upon, where, often a crisis situation was worse than even you wrote about at the time.
Tom had said that he wanted to say goodbye, and he didn't really get that chance when they went their separate ways. It was reported that after the game on Sunday, they spent about 20 minutes together in the Bucs locker room. If you had to guess, do you think that any type of hatchet was buried, or is it, people are going to find out, let's just meet, and it's a PR thing?
Well, I don't think it was a PR thing. I think that there were some raw feelings, especially on the Brady side, when the Patriots, opened the door for him to leave in 2019, and following that season, he walked right through it. And, the two people who should have known better than anybody else than to underestimate Brady's ability to play until he was 45 were Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, and yet they did exactly that. That said, I have always said that even if these guys get on each other's nerves or they're stressed or whatever, there's a love there between those two guys. And I think that when the fact that it seems like there's some closure, or there's, they were finally able to connect in person, I think, nobody knows what was said except for those two, but I think it is important. And when each of them is inducted into the Hall of Fame, I think that they will speak in terms of love for each other when they're up on that stage.
Yeah, that was going to be
There's just a bond there over the course of 20 years that even if, like I said, people grate on you or whatever, what they accomplished was really special, obviously.
Yeah, no doubt. And that was going to lead me to my next question, because, we all saw the Belichick-Parcells documentary, and I don't think it really opened up everything that, you always thought. But do you see down the road, Hall of Fame time, whatever, that there's going to be a little bit more, and maybe both of them are going to open up a little bit more about the good, the bad, and everything in between?
Well, we'll see. I don't know. That those things are a long way off, but we'll see. And I think that the Parcells documentary is a good template where time and clarity and the ability to achieve things on your own ends up helping you appreciate kind of where it all came from more.
Last thing, Seth, because of this run in Tampa, because we sat here in this market talking about Tom Brady coming to Nashville and being the next Titans quarterback. Obviously, he went to Tampa and he won a Super Bowl, and who knows if they do it again. I don't even know if he has to do it again. But we've had this long debate on Sports Talk Radio and basically any platform that discusses sports. Who was responsible for the dynasty? Was it Tom Brady? Was it Bill Belichick? Or was it literally just the perfect marriage? I feel like, and I want to hear your opinion, that because Tom Brady, since he left and went off and did what he did in Tampa, and the Patriots don't look like a playoff team this year, weren't a playoff team last year, is this going to affect, you think, Bill Belichick's legacy or how we feel about that dynasty run, on who was more responsible for the success?
I don't know, but obviously, the Patriots won the lottery with Tom Brady, and also Bill Belichick developed the hell out of him. I mean, he coached him incredibly well and helped him become the player that he is. And I think that as much as we talk about the differences between Bill and Tom, they have some things that are in common, and one of them, I think it sounds normal, but it's really rare, and that's that, like, nobody has ever believed in the power and the promise of, like, the next play and the next set of downs like these two guys. I mean, you see it playing out on international stages where no matter what's happened in the game, they can focus on what's in front of them better than anyone. 28-3 against the Falcons, 24-14 down against the Seahawks. All of the great goal line stands that Belichick's defenses have engineered over the years, going back to 1986 in the Super Bowl against the Broncos. I mean, these guys refuse to concede an inch to anyone else's idea of what's inevitable. And I think that, like, even as we discuss the differences between the two guys, that's one of the themes in the book that I think is really unique. And I think that when people try to study for what makes them great, that's one of the reoccurring themes in it.
Really appreciate the visit. Thanks for doing this. Best of luck with everything. We know it comes out on Tuesday. A lot of hype around it. Thanks for doing this, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Seth Wickersham, the author, It's Better to Be Feared, The New England Patriots Dynasty and the Pursuit of Greatness. It comes out on Tuesday. We'll come back. More coverage here from Centennial Sportsplex here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game. Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase on this Friday. Hope everybody's having a good day. Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, Chase McCabe with you. Appreciate Seth Wickersham for joining us. Last night, Rams and Seahawks. Tell you what, Seattle better be careful.
Yeah.
They're getting into a hole they might not be able to get out of.
Tough division.
Very tough division. Russell Wilson, I guess, what was that? Did it look like a dislocated finger?
Yeah, I went back and looked. I mean, didn't look good, but Gino came in
and he looked all right. For a guy, what was the last time he completed a pass in the league? Years, right?
1993.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while.
I was actually impressed. He did a lot better than I thought.
Yeah, he looked good.
He's been the backup there for a good while.
Has he?
Yeah, he's been there for a minute.
He's been holding a clipboard for
just
a couple years.
You back up a team where the guy doesn't get hurt, and you go AWOL for a while. Nobody knows where you are.
He's only 30. Let's see. He's been there, 2019. So, been there since
So that's
2019.
his third year, and this is the first time he's ever really gotten into a game, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
But he was ready, to his credit.
He was.
Did a good job.
He was, but
not the game I thought we were going to get. It was, I thought it was going to be an epic back and forth affair.
Shootout.
Just a crazy game.
And I wonder if he doesn't get hurt, if Russ doesn't get hurt, if it actually is that way.
But
the first half wasn't.
It wasn't, though. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. As Philip Tomasino walks by the table.
They're starting to trickle out, the guys. Jeremy Davies.
We saw UC Saros come by earlier. I'm still, not in the mode. Willie, we discussed this last time when you weren't here of I keep looking for Pekka, and it's just weird that, he's not walking out.
Yeah.
So
David Riddick is out there.
Yep. Yes, he is. But, yeah, I still think Seattle's a good team. But the start that Arizona's
they had some trouble on defense, though.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
And you knew
all of a
that
sudden
LA
in the second half that LA just started
and
cranking.
you knew they were going to be ticked off after losing to Arizona. And I picked San Francisco in my underdog pick this week, and I feel pretty good about that. But with beating Arizona, but LA came out, was ready to go. They were a little shaky at first. I know both quarterbacks had picks, but it's just what that division is. And I think both are good teams. We know LA is a good team. I still think Seattle's a good team. It's just, are they going to be able to overcome some of these things in a really tough division? I wouldn't count Pete Carroll out, though.
No, but they're having trouble running the football.
Yeah.
Well,
Carson was out.
And the whole thing of
Carson
four
was
teams from the same division making it, that's just really, really tough. It's a tough mathematical equation. If one team dips a little bit, you just don't have any easy games. It's conceivable that just things collapse.
Yeah.
If they have to be without Russell Wilson for a few weeks, and I don't know how bad the finger is, but it clearly bothered him enough to not.
Right.
Like he was there with his helmet on. It led you to believe he could
Well, he
go
kept
in there.
holding the football the whole time.
I think he was trying to figure out, if I have to go back in, can I do this?
What's up, Igor?
But I think they just determined that even though Geno Smith probably had a lot of layers of dust on him, he was still a better option.
Yeah.
Especially after the first drive or so.
Well, let's kind of look at this. So their next they're at Pittsburgh next week. Then they have the Saints at home, the Jags at home. So not an awful stretch there if they do have to be
Seattle?
Without Russell, yeah.
What were the games again?
At Pittsburgh. Not an easy place to play, but at
That's
Pittsburgh.
an interesting one there.
And then New Orleans at home on a Monday night, and then Halloween at home against Jacksonville. So
yeah,
not
well. Let's go through so this week is the on week for New Orleans, so they win. That week is the off week, so that's good.
So there you go.
So
that's
they
good
catch
for
New
Seattle.
Orleans on the off week.
Yeah. On Monday night. Their bye is week 9, but then they got to go to Green Bay, Arizona at home, to the football team, 49ers, at Houston, at LA, Chicago, Detroit, and then at Arizona in the final week.
I find it interesting. Here we are, the guys on the ice, the non-goalies on the ice. Afanasiev, Tomasino, and Davies. Three guys that are right on the bubble. I think all three of them, you can see the wheels turning. Like, I want to be that guy that shows I want that last spot or two.
Doing some early work.
They're all three are right there. You know, Robbie transcribed a long answer about how do you know when the young guy is ready. Now, Davies, of course, is a little different category than the other two kids. You know, guys are kind of kids. You know, Afanasiev and Tomasino. But it's a good detailed answer of what a coach has to decide.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of guys that get sent down at the beginning of camp and then come back. Shea Weber didn't make the opening night roster his rookie year and then came up a certain amount of time through the season, and by the end of the year he was playing in the playoffs over a bunch of guys that made the team on opening night. So there's different paths.
I'm glad you brought that up because so many people freak out. Like if Tomasino doesn't make it for opening night or Afanasiev doesn't make it.
Well, one of them probably is not going to make it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
One's not going to make it. It's like when Tolvanen didn't make it. Everybody's like,
what's
he's
wrong?
Broken. Like, what's wrong with him? Like, it's a complete bust. No, he just isn't ready yet. And that's okay. You know, so I don't think it's the end of the world.
I'll give you another example. I was partnered up with Daniel Carr. Remember Daniel Carr a couple years ago? He was a training camp star, and he was a AHL sensation.
He's a typical 4A player.
Typical 4A player, and it was right before the last cut, and I was at Top Golf for a team event, and I was just paired with him in one of those bunkers, and I said, "What do you think?" And he goes, "You know what? I've been doing this a long time. There's been a lot of training camps where I've made it, and there's been a lot of training camps where I didn't make it for opening night. But he said, what I've learned is you got to just go with it either way because it doesn't mean everything. Just because you make it doesn't mean you're there for a long time. You could, and he did make it for the Predators.
He did.
But he didn't stick.
Nope.
And there's other guys who didn't make it on opening day, and then they come up, and that's the right path for them. So you can't read – this isn't the end-all, be-all. Who makes it on opening night, even though it'll be billed that way.
Right. So, but good to see these guys out here getting
long journey.
Some early work. Mikhail Granlund just went out there with them. As guys trickle out to get some work in early. But, I mean, this is the crunch time. You know, rosters will be – they got their final tune-up tomorrow, and then they'll get the rosters set.
I'd guess that all these bubble guys will be in there. Tomorrow afternoon.
I would think so.
Well, there's 3, right?
Well,
how many are there?
Right? Yeah, but I'm just saying the guys who are want to make that last impression.
Yeah,
there's going to be a couple of guys who are going to be on the team that don't play tomorrow. That's the only way you can get the bubble guys in there.
Yeah. But,
tomorrow.
I mean, overall, though, for a preseason game, it's going to look pretty –
Oh, yeah, it did the other night.
Those are going to look pretty good
because they've made most of the moves already. There's not a whole lot of extra guys right now.
Okay, to your point, those 3, but, I mean, you probably want to see Borowiecki, Harper, guys like that, are probably going to make it, but, may not be the every night guys.
Yeah, but those are going to be on your NHL roster, though.
Sure, but I still think, you'll play them. You'd probably want to see them tomorrow. And maybe you don't see.
Well, you would think, though, that these guys who are on the bubble, they would make it at the expense of somebody else on the bubble. So those guys, you would think, would want to be in there tomorrow, too, to make their own case.
I mean, are you guys leaning one way or another, whether it's 7 or 8 defensemen?
I would say that's a good question.
I think they go 8.
You go 8 and then 1 extra forward and not 2.
Then you're not. Then what you threw out at the beginning is not happening. You're not. Both of them are not making them opening that roster.
I don't think Mocha. I didn't throw that out there.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that has no chance.
No, I don't think that.
Yeah.
Because,
that's why Davies, Afanasiev, and Tomasino are important because they can send those guys down.
Yeah.
And not have to waive them.
Yeah.
That's always like the tie goes against them.
Right.
That's why they have to make that extra impression to make sure that they get in there.
Here's the biggest thing for me on that. Like, if they both are not going to be in the lineup, and I'm not talking about fourth line, like they're both not going to be where they need to be, then send one of them down. so they can play.
That was the gist of Hines' quote that Robbie put on there. Is
they need to play.
He said they've got to be a main guy. They got to be contributing. Can they do it every night?
It does Tomasino or Afanasiev no good.
Wasn't Afanasiev on the fourth line Tuesday night, right?
Well, the fourth line is usually what we call the herd, right? So you've got to be in the middle six if you're one of those guys.
That's what I'm saying. That part I agree.
Yeah.
Like if they're going to be buried on the fourth line where they're going to log like 10 minutes.
So you considering that line more the third line, the Sisson's line.
Well,
because they are used differently than a lot of fourth lines. Some fourth lines is like, let's just only use them when we absolutely have to put them out there to give the other guys a rest. This is a fourth line that they want to sort of churn the engine, right?
Here's the question I have. Has Tanner Jeannot moved past that? In the pecking order.
I think
so.
he could.
They
looked at it the other night.
Yes.
And they looked at it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that ought to tell you that it's possible.
What's up,
It's
Joe?
possible.
He's so serious.
Olivier left.
So serious.
Olivier left practice the other day. We'll see if he comes out here for practice because that would be a factor there.
Yeah.
And it also depends. Do you want a little more size or do you want a Rocco Grimaldi in there for a little mix of speed in there? Like the thing that's working for Rocco is that they've gotten so much bigger as a team.
Yeah.
He's now, instead of one of many skilled little guys, now it's like he's the change-up.
Well, he's
the ingredient.
I agree with that.
And so I kind of like that for him.
Yeah.
They don't have Arvidsson anymore, so that's
a good example. They don't have Arvidsson. They don't have the skilled guys that aren't going to bring that physical
really,
edge.
when you think, and I know it's different, but Ryan Ellis, I mean, you got rid of some young, like for a defenseman, Ryan Ellis was on the smaller side, so they shed some smaller guys. And so, Willie, I agree with you on that.
I mean, like, these guys that are walking by, the new guys, like, they're
big guys.
They're bigger. Like,
oh, my gosh. This roster, honestly, this is one of the bigger rosters I've seen in a good while from them.
Like, I don't know
That's a good question. Is this the biggest
It may be one of the
team
biggest rosters they've ever had.
Yeah. Well, okay, so here you go. You got Afanasiev 6'4", Cousins and Duchesne 5'11", Forsberg's at 6'1", which that might be. I don't know about that.
Who?
Forsberg.
No, I think he's
6'1"?
legit. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, everybody's going to give himself a little. Everybody gives himself
Glass
a
is 6'3".
It was so funny. Trip Tracy, who will be joining us for the broadcast tomorrow, he was asking Mace on the broadcast the other night, is UC Saros really 5'11"? Of course, Trip Tracy is vertically challenged as well, so they were giving him.
So do you know who the shortest guy on the team is?
Well, it's got to be Rocco, right?
It's got to be Rocco.
Yeah,
it's got
5'6".
He's also the fastest.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Captain.
Look at the captain.
The captain.
Congrats. Making the Swiss team.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Swiss Olympian. Roman Josi. That surprised exactly 0 people in Switzerland.
No. They were like, what?
Who do we start our team with? Where should we start? How about Roman Josi? Okay, done.
Yeah, I don't think they needed a meeting for that one.
Yeah, that wasn't a long meeting.
No,
I don't think.
No.
They are getting better. The Swiss hockey as a whole they've got more players than they used to. It's a growing thing. They've done a really good job. The Roman Yosis of the world have really.
How we doing?
Cousins in the house, setting the tone.
You know what makes me feel good? That as these guys walk out and they look over here, they're like legitimately excited to see us too, just as much as we are to see them.
I do think it's worth something, and it's funny. These articles are coming out. Adam Vingan's got this, and the Athletic did a poll of the fans. How excited are you? How optimistic? And the Predators ranked really low from the fan base. It's not really surprising. But I talked to Ryan Johansson the other night on a Zoom, and he did point out the enthusiasm of this team. And we weren't around them. We didn't go to these practices last year. But at the end of last year, and it's carried over this year, he goes, he really likes the enthusiasm that these young guys come in. And you just saw it from Nick Cousins. He goes, they get excited about practice. He goes, they love coming out and playing and doing the work. There's a hunger that they have.
Well, especially
that's good.
now.
That's worth something.
I think especially now because it's normal.
Yeah.
Like it's they're not in a bubble. Yeah. I know there's still protocols and stuff, but they're not like locked in a bubble and they can, there's media here and we're here, all of that stuff.
I'll tell you what, this team may sneak up on some people and surprise some people.
Interesting.
I agree. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, pick them to win the Central, but
let me ask you something.
They're predicted very low in almost anywhere you go.
But you know what? I think this style that John Hines has put together, the way he wants them to play, it's proven it's got a winning formula, right? I mean, this is the closest thing to Barry Trotz as we've seen, right? Barry Trotz's formula
That's what they're shooting for.
Heads up. It works. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not comparing this to but I'm saying this style has proven that it's a model in the league that can work if you do it the right way.
They won 20 out of the last 28 last year.
Yeah.
That wasn't – when you win, it's not like if they had won 8 out of the last 12, that's not enough to really say – but 20 out of 28, that's a pretty decent sample size, to just blow off and say, hey, pick them 7th. And it wasn't because of the guys that are no longer with the team. Now, Callie Yarncroke had a really nice year last year. We would all say that.
Yeah.
Same thing. But Ryan Ellis didn't have a career year last year. Victor Arvidsson certainly didn't have a career year last year, so they weren't winning those games because of those guys. In fact, they were missing Philip Forsberg for a lot of that. They missed Roman Josi for part of that. Matt Duchene didn't play for much of that at all.
Yeah, I mean Arvidsson was hurt. So
Arvidsson missed a lot of that. Yeah.
I don't think you're off base with that, hey coach. Because one, just look at the division. I mean, Colorado, I think we all feel is they're in a league of their own.
Oh, there's no question. They're a powerhouse.
But you have Chicago that on paper is better with the moves that they have made, I think. And you have Minnesota that everybody loves. Everybody's all about Minnesota. I got to see it before I'm really going to go there.
They're good.
I think they're good, but are they second in the division?
That's the question.
Dallas had a lot of guys hurt. So Dallas is going to be back in the fold.
Sexy picks.
I think you sleep on Winnipeg and then Nashville.
Winnipeg, there's a ton of optimism for Winnipeg. They're getting a lot of buzz, but that's good. I think what you're getting at, Darren, too, is you kind of like the chip on your shoulder kind of thing. You kind of like when people aren't picking you. At least
I think that
let that be your motivation.
There's been a lot of what has it been like the last 3-4 years? It's been a lot of expectations, a lot.
No question, and that's a big thing.
That thing has evaporated, and I don't view that as a horrible thing.
No,
look, it's everybody wants the pressure. Like that's not a horrible thing. Like the Bucks came into this season in football with tons of pressure, right?
Sure.
Is that a horrible thing? No, that means you're built for success. And oh, by the way, you just came off success. But you know what? When you go through it year after year after year, and then it evaporates, and it's gone the wrong way the last several years, I don't think it's a horrible thing that's not in play anymore.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to worry about all that stuff. They're not having to answer all those questions.
It happens to every team. Every team has expectations rise and fall over the years, but there has been a reset there. It's very evident with how the fans voted on that poll. Their expectations have gone down.
Right.
And so this team is going to have to prove, and I think they sort of did it last year. People had thrown in the towel in the middle of March. There was no doubt it looked like a total disaster.
And what I would caution people on is as many coaches say, don't get too high and don't get too low. Because out of the gates, I could actually see them coming out pretty good out of the gates. I mean, you got Seattle, which is a brand new team. Carolina's going to be tough. LA, okay.
LA is another team that people are getting excited about because they've been tanking, they've been stockpiling young talent, and people are like, okay, it's time to see.
Then you got the Rangers.
And they started making some moves to get veterans. So throw it into the pot of all these teams that could go a number of different directions.
But they have 6 games at home to start the regular season in the month of October, only 2 on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a favorable schedule from that point. But then it becomes pretty tough because they go on the road for most of November.
Yes.
So you just got to let
you
it
won't
all
see
play
much
out.
of me during that time.
Yeah, well, we'll put a cardboard cutout in the studio.
I have one if you want me to.
I think we
from
need
the
that.
from the
yeah.
arena. Thankfully, we don't need to look at those things anymore. All the cardboard cutouts
Yeah,
everywhere.
mine's at home.
God, can you imagine in about 20 years when we look back on games of the last year and a half and we look at those cardboard cutouts? Like, can you believe we did all that stuff? That's going to look weird.
Why don't you tell everybody about Lee Company?
All right, Lee Company. Now, I'm glad to say that the air conditioning unit is working quite well here at Centennial Sportsplex as the team starts practice. But, of course, as we know, outside it's still pretty warm. I mean, it's touching 80 as we move on to mid-October here. But eventually it is going to get cold outside, and that means it's time to get your heating unit checked for the upcoming winter. And that's where our friends at Lee Company are really, really good at helping you out. We've got the home maintenance plan in the Daunic house and have for a long, long time. So on an annual basis, we'll get that heating unit checked around this time of the year to make sure everything with your furnace is running well and efficiently. You can do this as well. Get those annual checkups. You pay a small monthly fee. In exchange for that, you get discounts on repairs that are needed when they're needed. All you got to do is give them a call at 615-567-1000. That's 615-567-1000. Or go to leecompany.com. Lee Company, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators.
second hour, Darren, Daunic, and Chase here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, Chase McCabe with you as we are live here at Centennial Sportsplex. Predators on the ice currently, doing a little practice every Friday at this time. Talk to Big Joe on the go. Talk about a little high school football. He now joins us. Joe, good morning. If people want to get all their scores and all their info tonight, where do they need to go?
My man, need to go to Main Street Preps. It's on Twitter at Main Street Preps. And Russell and Tyler and Donovan and all the guys and gals do a great job of updating the scores, not only scores, but giving you stories as well from the big games that happen on Friday nights and Thursday nights. So thank you for that. Main Street Preps for everything.
We talked to Kelly yesterday, and we know that big matchup, the big clash between Oakland and Riverdale is coming next Friday, but how about that game last night with Oakland?
It's amazing. You know, CPA goes down there, Oakland wins 27-24, and just like the Lipscomb game 2 weeks ago, I mean, you've got great coaches, great programs, great talent, great environment, and you had a ball game last night that came down again to the final play of the game, and Oakland stops Cade Law, the CPA quarterback, from getting in there. So what a great game, and it's what we love about high school football. And so, you know, they're not going to see each other in the playoffs, obviously in two different divisions, but now you just wait for what could be the collision course of CPA and Lipscomb in the state championship game again. And Oakland, you know, doesn't get tested a lot, obviously, you know, with this season, with some schools are being down. But they've gone through two good tests with Lipscomb Academy and now CPA. Now they're waiting for Riverdale next week, and it's the battle of the borough again. And my goodness, what an atmosphere that'll be next week as both teams are undefeated, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait for that game.
Who would you say, Joe, in your opinion right now, is the best team in the Mid-State? Who's one? Who's two? I don't care about classifications, divisions, where they are. Through your eyes, who are the top three teams in the Mid-State in your opinion?
Well, you got to go with Oakland, CPA, and Lipscomb. Those are the ones that I tell people, because a team is in Division II, Class 2A, that doesn't mean they don't have any talent. That just means their enrollment is not big enough to go up in other classifications. So don't look at those teams and you say, well, you know, there's not a lot of talent there. Like DCA went down and played Silverdale Academy, Baptist Academy, which is in Chattanooga. That's they don't have a lot of numbers. That's a fantastic team. So don't look at numbers that way as far as, well, yeah, there's, you know, because they're lower classification, not a lot of great players there. That is so false. But right now, you look around the way, you've got Oakland, you got Lipscomb, and then you have CPA at the top. And then, you know, teams like Riverdale are playing fantastic now. And you got, you know, Innsworth is now 6-1 after a start coming out. So, but you look at the teams up the top three, it's got to be Oakland, CPA, and Lipscomb right now.
All right, so you just brought up Innsworth. MBA and Innsworth tonight.
Oh, yes.
What do you think about that one?
Innsworth has won 5 in a row. MBA has won 3 in a row. And you know what? That's a game we talked about last week when they said, you know, throw the records out. It's a huge game. It's a huge game in the region for both those teams tonight. So Innsworth is 6-1 overall. NBA 4-3. I'm not sure that Marcel Reed's going to play tonight. You know, he could come game time decision. He got injured last week. Hope he's well. I hate to see kids get injured in high school because they have such a limited time to play of games. And so hopefully he plays tonight. But anyway, what happens, that's going to be a good game. Innsworth quietly under the radar, and they're 6-1, so that'll be a good game. It's at NBA tonight.
I want to give you props for your visit with us last week because you brought up, and you had brought them up before, but they had a big game last week, and so I made sure to check out them because I didn't know anything about them. Well, is it Summit, right, with the two twins that have committed to Kentucky?
Yeah, the Wade twins. And, again, how they've gotten out of Tennessee to go to Kentucky, I have no idea. And they're some of the best high school football players I have ever seen. And tonight they take on Independence, which is a neighborhood game. Summit's 3-0 in the region. Independence is 2-1. You know, if Independence can get a win tonight, that shakes up the region. If Summit wins, you know, they'll have a nice little cushion there. Summit should win, but Scott Blade's a heck of a coach. People don't realize this. Scott Blade, the coach at Independence, he was head coach at Hillsboro in 2008 when they won the state championship. That's the last Metro school to win a football state championship. So Scott Blade, I never underestimate him. That should be a good game tonight.
All right, Joe, we're here Metro. We're at the Predators practice, so that means the ever-present Craig Partner Baugh has been around, and so you know his ties to Overton High School. So I got the full-on Overton Bobcat report from Partner before practice today, 5-2. They've got Cane Ridge. We talked a little bit about Overton last week, but give us the Metro report. Give me a couple other teams to look for there. Is Overton in the hunt? I know they're 2-0 in their league right now.
5-2 overall.
Yeah.
You were stealing my notes, Willie, because that is the Metro game of the week. That game's at Overton. Cane Ridge is 4-0 in the region. Overton's 2-0. Look, Cane Ridge, Eddie Woods, the head coach at Cane Ridge, does a fantastic job. They got great athletes there, great kids. But, again, our Sensei Broom is the head coach at Overton. He's one of my favorite coaches of all time. So the thing tonight is, look, they're coming into our house. This is what our Sensei Broom's going to tell his team. They're coming over to our side of town. This is a chance for us to take the lead in the region if we can knock off Cane Ridge. It's not going to be easy because Cane Ridge is a good football team, but man, somehow our Sensei Broom, now they're 2-0. They're rolling in the region. That's a good football game. That's going to be a good game tonight. That's the Metro game. You want to go see it? It's right off I-65 there in Harding Place. Go over there and take in two good programs with two outstanding head coaches who mean a lot to their kids. So that's the big game. Cane Ridge at Overton tonight.
Joe Dubin is with us, Main Street Media, Main Street Preps. That's where you need to go to get all the high school football information. And another team I want to ask you about, the 3-0 in their league, 6-1 overall, Green Hill in Mount Juliet, still a
singular.
Yeah, Green Hill.
I'm still getting
Green
used
Hills.
to that. When I first heard about this, I bumped into the first Vanderbilt game against ETSU. We're not going to talk about that game. Okay, but in the stands, I was introduced to one of the players on the Green Hill team, and I did a double take. I was like, "Green." You say, "Wait, you're from Green Hills?" But no, he plays for Green Hill, and that's when I first learned about how good this team is.
They have JoJo. They have some solid uniforms, but also a solid football team, and I mean that's quite impressive because it's still very new.
It's very new, and Josh Crouch is the coach out there. He played with Sonny Gray at Smyrna back in the days when they won the state championship over there. And so what do you got tonight? You've got Green Hill 3-0. They're picking on Hunter's Lane. They should have won that game pretty easily. That'll put them 4-0 in the region. Another big game in 5A5 is Wilson Central and Station Camp. Now, Station Camp is also 3-0 in the region tonight. So Green Hill gets that win tonight. That'll put them at 4-0. They'll sit and watch Wilson Central. If Wilson Central knocks off Station Camp, then they've got the upper leg in that region right now. But Green Hill, I got to tell you, I mean, there's a lot of good, talented kids in Wilson County, and I thought it would take a few years to get them up to par, but, man, they are killing it right now. Chase, you're right. Everybody likes the shiny stuff. Their uniforms look good. The campus looks good. The field looks good. And when you win ball games, it makes it all feel much better. So they take on Hunter's Lane tonight, and again, another big game, Wilson Central at Station Camp, who's having a fantastic year. That's a big game. Also in that area, Chase, you look at it, another big game. It's not a region game anymore because one team has gone down in classification, but Mount Juliet visits Lebanon tonight.
Yeah.
And I promise you, if Mount Juliet fans want to win one game all year long, they want to beat Lebanon. And likewise, if Lebanon goes 1-9, as long as that one win is against Mount Juliet, they're happy. But now Lebanon stayed in 6A. Lebanon is 6-1. Fantastic year. Mount Juliet's in 5A. There's going to be a huge crowd at Lebanon High School tonight to check out what's a rivalry that goes back, I think, 80, 90 years. So that'll be a lot of fun tonight as well.
So obviously the regular season is winding down. We're navigating through fall break that a lot of these schools have this time of year, so not everybody playing. But with your best opinion, who has some work to do to try and put themselves in a good position for the postseason?
That's a great question. Well, again, we talked about NBA earlier. Beating Innsbruck tonight would go a long way in helping them what they need to get done. Overton's the same way. If they can beat Cane Ridge, and then look further down in Williamson County, Ravenwood's taking on Centennial. If Centennial could knock off Ravenwood tonight, they're back in the region rush right there too, and that knocks Ravenwood down a notch. So there's a few games that you look at that way. Wilson Central, that's a big game for them. They're 2-2 in the region. they lose to Station Camp and Green Hill wins and Mount Juliet's in that region, that hurts them as well. That's a good program at Wilson Central, so that's a big game for them. To me, the top game tonight in all of Middle Tennessee is down in Tullahoma. And do not sleep on what's going on in Tullahoma. They're hosting Montgomery Central. It's a Region 4A Class 5 game. Both teams are unbeaten. And if you've not been to a game in Tullahoma, it is the Friday Night Light game of the TV show. The movie. Everybody in that county and that city goes to the game on Friday. It is the social big event tonight. So Montgomery Central has got to drive a long way from Clarksville down to Tullahoma to take on this game tonight. That, to me, is the top game in Middle Tennessee. It doesn't get all the publicity that it deserves because, obviously, there's a lot going on in Rutherford County, Davidson, and Williamson County, and Wilson. But that's the big game tonight. Montgomery Central taking on Tullahoma.
Well, going to be fun. I love this time getting some big as things wind down in the regular season, but have a long way to go. JoJo, always good to talk to you. Thanks, man.
All right, boys, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Big Joe on the go on Twitter. Main Street Media, Main Street Preps is where you need to go to get all that information. And Joe joins us every Friday at 11 to talk some high school football. Let's talk some BetMGM because you can become a weekend warrior at BetMGM by playing King of the Weekend. It's a free-to-play challenge where you can win up to $50,000 for correctly picking the highest scoring pro football teams during the weekend. Simply log into your account and find the King of the Weekend contest in your promotion section. Then pick the 6 teams you think will score the most points from the selected games. $1,000 will go to the top entry each week. And if you guess all 6 in the right order, the grand prize of $50,000 could be yours. Plus hundreds of dollars in free bets will be awarded to players who come close to a perfect score. Go to your account and try the King of the Weekend free-to-play game. New to BetMGM, download the app today and make weekend football even better. Only at BetMGM, king of sportsbooks. You must be 21 years or older, must be in Tennessee. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
You just made the list. Coming up at high noon. Pair of tickets to see the Doobie Brothers at Bridgestone Arena on October 25th. Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Our show is presented by Creation CBD. Products curated for life. Don't forget, you can support Stars on Saturday, October 16th. That's not this Saturday. That's not tomorrow. It's the following Saturday. You can run, you can walk, you can boogie. The Nashville Striders' 21st annual Shelby Bottoms Boogie 15K and 5K run or walk at Shelby Bottoms Park. The event is perfect for the avid runner as well as the casual jogger, or you can just show your support and participate virtually. For more information, visit starsnashville.org.
I'm in training. I'll be running. I will be there. Got to make sure I'm in shape. I ran my 5K this morning.
I believe in you.
I'm a defending place. I placed in my age category last year.
Okay. I mean, you're fully, not that the shoulder really affects running, but you're fully recovered.
It was before the injury.
Yeah.
So this is, the motion is okay running. Not a big deal for running, but it is a post-injury race here.
Yeah. So you'll be good.
Spirited practice going on. I have seen Yakov Trenin score at least 2 perfect shots up under the bar.
I'm really excited about him. I'm excited about
he's
a lot
really
of
good.
things, but
he's a good player.
He has been, I will never forget, for a preseason game, it's probably been like 4 years ago at this point, I sat up in the press box with Brent Peterson, and it was not a radio game or anything like that. It was just a preseason game. And he said, watch Trenton. And I said, okay. And he goes, I really like him. I like his style. He's got that grit, the typical Brent Peterson type of player. And so I did. I've paid attention to him ever since. And we've just seen him grow and make his ascension here to the NHL. And, he's a good kid. I've talked to him a few times in the locker room, when back in those days when we could do that.
Yeah.
But
I was just thinking about this. This is the first practice I've watched in 2 years.
Yeah. For you, I guess it has. That was us last week. But I think, you just watch, because the hope is like a guy breaks out, and last year was a breakout year for Trenton. You just want it to be even more, and I think it will be this year.
Looking at yesterday's Titans' very, very long injury report.
It's still long.
Still long. In fact, I think it's growing. It's
Number
like
12, arm bar.
It's not good, but
there's some sprinkled. Sprinkled in good.
Is one of the sprinkling in being good. Bud Dupree was an LP on Wednesday, but he was an FP yesterday. Full participation.
Sure was.
It was interesting. He was a full participation on the same day that he had a very open conversation with the media, just admitting that he rushed it. He came back too early.
Yep.
And he had to take a step back, which I thought was a great move by him, to be candid, be transparent. That I just think sometimes there is this, you have to be ready by the day of the first game. But the real answer is you're ready when you're ready.
Yeah.
There's nothing, you can't control the calendar. You can just work as hard as you can. But he so wanted to be in there.
Well,
and that's a natural thing.
He's got a big contract attached to him. He's a huge free agent signing, and so
it weighs on
there's a lot of pressure.
Yes.
He's at a new place, and there's a lot of pressure.
So hopefully to take the step back, to take the 2 steps forward, will be a good thing for him.
There was another big FP that was an LP on Wednesday.
There was a lot of movement, to be perfectly honest.
But there's one in particular that I think people are paying attention to, and that's Arthur Wan, A.J. Brown.
And it looks like he is
I'm really surprised that he's to that point, but bring it on.
And we've talked about this, that it takes everybody a different amount of time, but I go back to Derrick Henry a few years ago. He sits out that game against the Saints, and then we saw him bounce back and be a beast
all the way through the playoffs.
Week.
Yeah.
So maybe 1 week for A.J. Brown and the hamstring is really what he needed.
Let's hope.
Well,
let's hope.
Roger Saffold was an LP on Wednesday, an LP field on Wednesday, at FP yesterday. So he was a full participant. So that's a good sign. You also have Jeffrey Simmons, limited on Wednesday, full on Thursday. That's a good sign. Here's the interesting one. Caleb Farley. So much talk about one, this is a category you don't want to be leading. I think actually they're tied. They've given up the most big plays on defense. Long plays. I think they're tied. They're the worst team in the NFL. I'm giving up big plays.
Well, remember I went through all the numbers a couple days ago, and there's a 68, a 63, a 53.
It's not good. But Caleb Farley has been he's been a full participant Wednesday and Thursday, and it does make you wonder, are we getting ready to see Caleb Farley?
I would expect some questions to Mike Vrabel today about him.
Yep.
And I don't know if he'll come out. You always want to see if Mike Vrabel, because even if he doesn't say it, you can read his emotion when he gets hit with the question. There are times where he jumps out and says, yeah. He's going to be in there. Or he dances around, and then you get the impression, well, I don't know. But I wonder, will this be the week that you put him? Like I said earlier this week, even if you could just get him in there for a package of plays.
Let's have fun.
Put him in a spot where maybe he has a chance to succeed. I would not expect him to be in there every down. I think that's too much. That might be too much too fast.
Ask me as if I'm Mike Vrabel if I think Caleb Farley's going to be in
all
there.
right, you're Mike Vrabel. I'll be John Glennon because John Glennon will be the guy that asks. Okay. Coach, let's see. Caleb is full participant in practice the last couple days. Might we see him in the lineup on Sunday?
It's pretty good, Glenn.
Was that pretty good, Glenn?
Pretty good.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, we'll just have to see what the injury report says today, and we'll let you know.
I thought you were going to say, yeah, there'll be a chance. There'll be a chance to get out there. There'll be a chance, Caleb.
We'll let you know.
We'll have to see how it goes. We'll check on everything, get the reports.
We'll let you know. Julio Jones, Brett Kern, they're going to be out.
Are we ready to say
I would think
both
so.
of those guys
I would think
out?
So.
That's our guess.
Maybe there's a chance Julio does something today.
We go from 0 to I don't know.
I don't know. I feel pretty good about Kern.
But there is the thing with Julio
the
of not practicing and then playing. So that you do have to keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's this week.
It doesn't feel like it. But I'm not ruling it out.
No.
I'm not expecting anything.
Well, he's not been rolled out. That would come with that.
But
that will happen
today. That could
today.
happen today. It could happen today.
Yeah, it could. That could happen today. So while the list is very, very long, you're thinking, okay, is Caleb Farley going to play? Looks pretty good. Jeffrey Simmons, Roger Saffold back to full participation. Ben Jones has been limited in both, which, they need.
Neck issue.
Well, and Brewer hasn't been practicing.
That's big.
Right, he's not even on the right.
Because now you don't have him to go to because as you can recall, there's already been.
He's been a DNP for 2 days.
But keep this in mind, you do have Corey Levin, who is on the practice squad. He can be elevated. My guess is that's what happens.
That's an option.
Yeah.
J.R. Brown is a DNP both days.
You feel a little bit better about the depth there with the way Long has come on. He's essentially become.
Well, and I read a piece on, I think it was A to Z Sports that had it, that basically Vrabel has, in so many words, said that David Long it's David Long and Rashaan Evans now.
That was
the two starters.
I want to say something that we heard. I think it was Monday's press conference. If not, it was Wednesday. But there were some questions that Tehran was asking about Long, and he's basically saying he's essentially a starter. If you take a look, he's playing almost every down.
He's playing well.
Yeah,
I mean he's earned that spot.
So there would have been a time you would have been really concerned about not having J.R. Brown, but the fact that you have Long, you feel better about the depth. That's not the case with the offensive line. Because what's the bad thing to worry about? They've struggled to start with in general, but they've also had within games multiple games where Saffold has had to go out for at least part of the game.
Yeah.
Ben Jones has had to miss part of games. And now you don't even have the backup ready to go in there. That's That's a concern.
Well, here's so Brewer.
You're just praying that those guys can get through a full game. Saffold, Luan, and Jones.
Brewer didn't practice with the knee both days. Luan has been out both days with the toe.
Yes, that's another one.
So you got that one. Jones has been limited both days with the neck. Saffold was in the protocol. I guess is good now. Full participant yesterday, so that's good. But yeah, you're right. The offensive line. I mean, Sombrero was limited yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are questionable enough when they're healthy. But
Taylor Luan is
you don't even know if you have them
both days.
That's right.
It's a major
Which I believe. Let's see. Let me go look at last week's because I think that was the case last week.
Brett Kern, DMP, both days.
Yep. Well, that's what I just said. I don't think he's playing.
Yeah.
I think
that's a whole separate thing. But let's stick with the offensive line for just a second.
Yeah,
this is
Taylor last week did practice full Thursday and Friday. So
I don't know. Do we know what toe? What I don't.
We do not know the origin of the toe.
Is it the big toe? Is it the pinky toe? I don't know.
Which foot?
I would think big toe. Sergeant
Probably.
Hoka from Stripes, Darren. The big toe.
The big toe.
Sergeant Hoka. Not Lou the Toe Groza, who was also an offensive tackle and in the Hall of Fame as a kicker.
And a tackle.
The toe. But Robbie and Rex Road this morning were talking about the one guy that's not on the injury list, Nate Davis, but his grades have been really, really bad as far as how he's played. Same thing with, Quesenberry, I think speaks for itself. The film doesn't lie. It's jumping out at you how much that those guys have struggled.
So an offensive lineman hasn't graded out well for the Titans? Wow.
Well, I mean, he's not on the injury report, but he's the guy that you're thinking, well, at least he's not hurt, but he's not playing well. But it just shows you how an offensive line is a chain, right? When you have the links in the chain that aren't tied up together, it's affecting everybody, even the guys that aren't even injured. Because Nate Davis, I think, not that we would consider him all pro, but he's a steady guy. And his performance, they were doing the numbers and his grades and how much they've dropped off from last year to this year. But that he's playing next to Quesenberry, he's playing next to Ben Jones, been banged up. The whole line is struggling.
And that's the thing with this line. They don't have one just stud superstar guy that can carry everybody. I mean, Luan has shown signs of that.
No,
but not
Luan
right now.
is absolute. I mean, Luan is the guy. Roger Saffold, when healthy, is the guy. Those guys can absolutely. Ben Jones can carry. I mean,
but they need. I'm saying they need each other.
They can't. They don't have. They have rock solid guys when they're healthy. What? How is Taylor Luan and Roger Saffold?
What I'm saying right now is they don't have that because they're not healthy.
Well, yeah, but Nate Davis is healthy, so what's his excuse?
He's not a rock-solid guy. That's what I'm saying.
He was last year.
Because he had those guys around him. He had better.
Taylor Luan wasn't around.
He had.
But he had a healthier Ben Jones, and he had Dennis Kelly.
Ben Jones has never been healthy.
He plays the right
He's
side.
Always hurt.
I'm trying to give props to Dennis Kelly. Dennis Kelly was a solid choice at right tackle, and they cut him for money. So that's the thing. I think we're seeing how good Dennis Kelly was at that spot or how better he was at what's there now. I mean, I think Nate Davis is a nice player, but I don't think he's a superstar stud that can just carry it on his own.
No one said superstar stud, but last year he was really, really freaking good.
And I think that's a credit to what was next to him.
So it has nothing to do with a different OC?
That's a separate conversation.
No, I honestly don't think so. I think the line has.
So this is just simply Dennis Kelly.
Well, they're a year older, and there's more injuries that they're dealing with that has hurt them.
But I'm not willing to say right now.
They're still running the ball. Their run blocking is fine.
Yeah, it's pass protection that's
the pass protection is brutal.
It's been non-existent. But with Luan, right now today, he's not the same Luan. And he hasn't played that way because of the knee. Now,
and apparently the toe.
And the toe. But could he do that if he gets healthy? Then sure, I would love that. But right now, I don't see it.
Which is why I said this is what I know. He's
gone.
This is over at the end. I mean, they're going to move on from Taylor Luan
because it's going to be cheap to do that.
It just doesn't. Well, I mean,
but they have a lot of
when we have to keep saying when healthy. But you can also basically chuckle every time you say when healthy. I mean, his availability, how do you just keep going down the same road with him every year when his availability is not good?
But right now, you can't worry about next year. Next year, you got a whole mountain of things. They might have to replace. I mean, Saffold's going to be a year older. Ben Jones will be a year older. You might have a lot of decisions.
Well, I think
to make.
the offensive
So
line's
right
gonna
now,
look
this
pretty
is this is your guys right now. You got to get as much out of them as you can while you have them.
This goes back
Because you don't. It's not like you got these 3 young guys you've been developing and let's get them in there.
Dylan Radins, what are you talking about? I mean,
this is another thing. Is he behind the scenes getting better? It's essential.
How would we
it's
know?
essential that he gets good and becomes. We were saying this about Isaiah Wilson last year, and we know what happened. But it's essential that Radins turns into a guy that they use and becomes a part of what they're doing here.
I would love to know.
It's probably not this week, but I'm saying over time, let's hope that behind the scenes, the talent that they saw in them is coming along, and there will be a day where all of a sudden at practice he's in there because of necessity.
I don't know the answer to this.
He is more talented than Quesenberry.
But I would love to know the answer to this. And we don't. But because we've been having this conversation this week, wouldn't you just love to know if they did have an analytics department when they went in that room and they broke down the analytics on Isaiah Wilson and Dylan Radins, what would the analytics have told them to do? Would it have said draft them? Said, heck yeah? Or would it have said no? Or 3rd round grade, 4th round grade? I don't know. I would love to know what would the numbers have said about Dylan Radins? What would the numbers would have said about Isaiah Wilson?
And that's another separate thing is, do you have the numbers, the analytics in college are a different formula than
Correct.
pros.
Sure.
What's the spread offense and what offense are you running and your tools? But people do analytics in the college ranks too. So there are some things you can measure.
Well,
there.
and I bet other teams have those numbers on those guys.
Yeah. Well, there's also the combine. It's not like they don't show up at the combine for some of the measurables, but
I suspect the analytics probably would have favored Isaiah Wilson, and it was more about stuff that you can't.
Yeah.
Right. The numbers. Right. It's between the ears. It's
how much do you love to play?
Right. That stuff, and that probably would have been more of analytics. Probably wouldn't have been coming to play, I guess, with Isaiah Wilson. Although there were a lot of people saying that was too high. I mean, they were saying that. Because they're saying he's young, he's immature. It's probably it's too high. People were saying that. Whoa, we had him further down on our board.
And it's not like he's the only guy. There's plenty of guys every year that you say, well, he went higher than I thought. He went lower than we thought.
We're sitting here talking about the mess that is the Titans' offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Well, but to further the point, that's why this window is so important. That's why getting these guys healthy. And I know, like we always say, you're going to have guys get hurt. But that's why this year is so important, because if you really do a deep dive into next year and beyond and what who's going to be here and what contracts look like, this team's going to look different. So that's why being in this window, I call it the Henry window because that's really what it is. You have to take advantage of it and then see what happens beyond. But, it's still early in the season, so the hope is you get these guys healthy and get guys back, and then you start getting into a rhythm. Things start going better with the play calling and the offensive coordinator. I mean, I'm still not sold there. But I know you are more than –
nobody is sold. I just think you got to be fair before you just point the finger and say it's all on it. I just think he's been dealt a very tough hand here. Let's give him a little bit of time. I don't think he's done the worst job. I gave him a B-. You guys would give him a lower grade. But I just think you've got to consider these issues on the offensive line, plus your 2 ace wide receivers. That's quite a bit of stuff to deal with. Plus Anthony Ferguson, who has not been the same player.
Well,
he has not been the same player this year.
It's honestly just injuries. The tight end, the tight end position.
Well, I think Pruitt. Thank goodness they brought him back. It'd give you something, because that's otherwise, where would you be?
Well, I mean, it's not like they didn't deal with this stuff last year. This is not the first time this has happened. They dealt with stuff last year. Was Jonnu Smith healthy all last year?
Not the whole year.
I mean, who was healthy? I mean, Corey Davis would get hurt. A.J. Brown would be banged. I mean, they dealt with the same stuff last year.
That's why I put some onus on Todd Downing.
First of all, nobody has said it's all on him. But to simply dismiss it and
I'm
act
I'm not giving him an A.
And I know, but to dismiss it and act like there couldn't be something to the fact that the new offensive coordinator could be playing a part in this, I'm just not willing to go there.
Well, I just want to give him a little time before you say he's a failure. Arthur Smith there were a lot of, I'm not sure about Arthur Smith.
And then they changed quarterbacks.
When they were, what were they, 4-6 or 4-5, and they changed quarterbacks. But there was a lot of, hey, did they hire the right guy in the offensive line?
I understand.
So you got to give him some time.
But, and let me say this, because I think there are some people that have 2 seconds of attention span, and so they hear what they want to hear out there. But I've placed blame on a lot of different places. I've placed blame on injuries. I've placed blame on the head coach. I've placed blame on the offensive coordinator. But you can't, to your point, Darren, like, I'm with you. You can't tell me that he's not factored in there, because he is. I understand all the injuries and the hand that he was dealt, but I've seen, I saw a lot of these guys that are out in there early on, and in the preseason some, I'm going, okay. So I got to see more from a play calling standpoint to really say that, or to improve his grade.
He took over the strength of the team.
Yes, and it's gotten worse.
The strength of the team, and it's gotten worse. And you're telling me that there's nothing to that? I mean, I'm sorry. Not buying it.
Yeah.
He took over the strength of the team. The team that all we did was praise last year was their offense. Praise, praise, praise.
Yep.
No matter how many injuries they dealt with. Because
you knew
they
it might
did.
fall off, because that's what happens in this league. But you didn't think it would fall off like it did.
And you add Julio Jones, who I realize hasn't done much, hasn't been available much, but you lose Jonnu Smith. Okay, that one hurts. So your tight end position got weaker, but ultimately what we're talking about is an offensive line, basically the same guys that we were talking about last year for the most part, and you have the best running back and one of the best players in the NFL. They didn't acquire him. It's the same guy that dominates the league, and that was their strength. You took over. You got the keys to the strength of the team.
They handed you the keys to the Porsche.
And it has not been very good. It just hasn't.
Well,
I mean,
they've won.
They've had 4
one,
games. It just hasn't
they've
been
had
great.
One horrendous performance the first week. The second week, pretty good. The third week, pretty good. Last week, I didn't think it was that bad. It was more the defense gave up, huge chunks to a horrendous offense. And so the team they did not have either wide receiver. They had all kinds of issues on the offensive line with injuries, and yet they had a field goal that would have at least tied the game in overtime. It's not like they didn't move the ball.
Yeah.
They had a considerable amount of success, even without A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. So we're grading on a high expectation level. You have to admit that.
I will say this, and
it's not like they scored 7 points last week.
I know that salary cap is obviously an issue, but if it were to come out that the Titans were in the market for a tight end, I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world. We saw
this, Chase, yesterday. We were looking. They do have a little bit of cap space to work with.
Yeah.
To make a move or two if something comes. It was in context with Gilmore, right? The Panthers had the space to trade for Gilmore because he's got a pretty big cap hit, even though it's prorated now because you're about a quarter of the way.
They traded for Henderson and Gilmore.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Titans have room. The Titans, they don't have a lot of room, but they have, relative to the rest of the league, I think they rank like 10th or 11th.
Yeah.
With $6-something million, between $6 and $7 million of cap space.
Because they've moved, like they restructured Tannehill's contract, they restructured Julio's contract, so they moved.
Now next year they're going to be some. Oh boy.
That's where things get interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see if there's a move to be made that could help them somewhere.
By the way, the guy that I said on Monday, I never thought I would say his name as much as I did on Monday. Just got a big extension yesterday with the Jets. John Franklin Myers.
He's a good player, man. I'm
Got
telling
a
you.
big – yeah, but we weren't talking about him that whole week.
Yeah, they saw that game against the
But,
Titans. They're
but
like,
on
"Brother,
Monday's
here we
show, I
go."
was like, I never thought I would say the name John Franklin Myers as much as I
here's a
did
contract
on
extension.
Monday.
I did my homework on the Jets last week. I had no idea who he was, I'll be honest with you, before last week. I was listening to a podcast. He was interviewed.
We never mentioned his name.
But they explained in that interview that he was with the 49ers. It was a little bit like, it reminded me of Delaney Walker. He was the backup for the 49ers, playing behind Vernon Davis. The Titans identified him and said he can play a bigger role. Yeah. That's what Robert Saleh did because he was with the 49ers. He saw something in this guy. He said, this is the kind of defense we want to play. Let me bring him over here. He can play a bigger role, and that's what's happened.
Yeah.
That does happen in the league. So.
Absolutely.
Should happen.
Delaney Walker came here from the 49ers. Why? Because he wasn't getting the opportunity behind Vernon Davis.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
Is this thing on?
Yeah. Is that what you said?
That's what you just said.
Yeah.
Wow, I pulled a you. I pulled a you.
I'm glad that's not,
How
I'm not
about
the
that?
only guy.
Hey,
I just want you to know.
You're off the hook.
I'm off the hook.
You're off the hook.
I'm equal opportunity. Like, if I hear it from either one of you, I'll point it out. If you hear it from me, I expect the same thing. I mean, it happens.
Okay.
But, yeah. No, I mean.
Was that literally the example you used?
He said he was
absolutely.
playing behind Vernon Davis.
That is awesome.
You know what? We need to keep score because I'm convinced it does happen to everybody. I think I'm the leader right now, but I want to see what the score is at the end of this.
There's every now.
Chase. He just said he thinks he's the leader.
No,
I think I'm the leader.
He's the leader.
I think I'm the leader. By a good margin.
Darren does it every now and then. I do it every now and then.
Well, okay, but also you have to admit, Darren, having been in the second or third, the lower it is, sometimes the more odds are that you might repeat something.
Mine is I don't necessarily repeat. Mine is I just get caught not paying attention, and it's very apparent when like you ask me a question. I'm like, I have no idea what he just asked me. I have no idea what's going. I was in La La Land for a second. That happens.
You just made the list coming up at noon. I may have just put myself on the list for that one. That's coming up at high noon. We'll come back, wrap up the second hour next. Don't forget, you can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube every single day. Like right now, we're waving. Hello, we're at Centennial Sportsplex. Our video streaming
So is Mikhail.
is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We're waving.
We're
The
waving.
Predators players are going by. They're waving too.
Some are waving.
Get the
Dante,
stampede.
he's waving.
You can join us.
He's like, what is this?
What's going on?
You can join us in partnering with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night. Light the Night brings the light to the darkness of cancer through hope, research, and support for patients and families. Through this inspirational nationwide movement, we want to raise awareness and funding for groundbreaking research and treatment options to eliminate cancer. Nashville's Light the Night will be virtual and take place on November 4th. You can learn more at lightthenight.org/TN. So I just had a frozen moment. I had a moment here at the ice rink where I literally froze. My brain froze.
Yep.
Willie said something. I'm sitting here. I'm trying to multitask. I'm supposed to be listening. I'm supposed to be paying attention. I was on frozen mode, kind of like what happens on our Zoom or on television. You just got poked. That's a penalty from UC on you. There you go.
74 to the box.
74, 2 minutes. Hey, that's cross-checking, man.
I
We
don't
can't
know.
do that now.
He
We
didn't
can't do that now.
He didn't extend both arms
do
of the
that
stick.
now.
Or just maybe a little
It could
tap.
have been a poke check.
Poke check.
Yeah. Just
Not
trying to
enough
get
for a slash.
So I repeated what you said, but we are layered up. And so
Yeah, we need to do a layer check.
You wanna
And
know-
I'm very disappointed. I have not seen Adam Vingan coming in here with his T-shirt and shorts like I
does that.
expected today.
Yeah.
So at these things, when we're here from 10 to 2,
Is that Robbie?
you have to prepare
What's
yourself.
Robbie wearing?
Robbie's got
Is
his
it?
Tennessee
Oh.
get up on.
Oh, of course. If the Vols had their
Yeah.
big win, then yeah, sure.
But
And they're playing South Carolina, so yeah, he's decked out in orange today.
Yeah. Well,
But
you know.
I came in.
Should be.
So let's reveal our strategy that we used today because we're here from 10 to 2. We know that the coolness kind of heaps up on you, and over time it gets colder. So I was prepared. I have an extra layer to go to that I haven't had to pull out yet. And we're nearing the halfway point of the show. I came in, though, with 4 layers.
Oh.
I've got 4 going right now. So how
4?
many do you guys?
I
But
got
you know
3.
me. I tend to be on the high side
Yeah.
of the layers.
So I had the T-shirt, the Braves T-shirt, and then I put the 1025 the game jacket,
Yeah. And so you've added a layer since the
and
start
then
of
I
the show.
put the leather jacket on.
You've gone to the third
That's all
layer.
I got. Yeah.
So you started at 2, you're at 3. All right,
Yep.
so where are you, Darren?
I've got thermals, tops and bottoms.
Yeah, he does wear thermals.
I got the
No, I
thermals,
did not
tops
do
and
that.
bottoms. Double socks,
Double socks is key.
hooded
That's a smart move.
sweatshirt, and the coat.
Yeah. But see, you got
So
some
you
good
got
gear. Like,
you've got 3 layers, but you got 3
I got-
pretty
They're-
thick.
they're-
You got the
yeah.
hoodie and a legit coat.
And I'll say
thermal
this:
and legit coat.
our 1025 the game. I mean, this thing's pretty warm, but I mean,
That helps.
in here it needs the
Oh my gosh! Look at Brooks. Brooks Bratton, no socks.
No socks.
No
That's
socks.
that's
No
questionable.
socks.
That's a questionable move.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh!
But he hasn't been here since 10. He
No,
came
it's
rolling
true.
in at the beginning of practice.
To be
so-
honest with
And
you,
he'll be gone before 2.
Yeah.
I wasn't cold until we started talking about it, and so now I'm kind of cold.
But this
'cause
is
we're
this
talking
is
about
where it starts hitting you.
Yeah.
At about the halfway point of the
Well,
show,
no, it really
1
o'clock hour is where this is where
by
we're,
1 o'clock.
we've warned Ladarius like everything's gonna feel
Yeah.
good, and then the second half and then the final hours when you're really gonna start
It
pushing.
starts creeping.
You're gonna start pushing.
So my goal is to try to hold off on my last layer, which is a hoodie, until the 1 o'clock hour. I feel like if I can go to the hoodie at 1 o'clock, then
Oh, so
I'll be able to make it
You
through.
brought the hoodie. You
The
just
hoodie
did-
is in the bag as a
Okay.
5th layer.
Okay.
That's the 5th
Gosh.
layer.
Wow, the emergency
Yeah.
5th layer.
Wow.
It's not an emergency. I think it's in the bullpen.
Do you
I
have,
knew I was going to go to the bullpen for the 5th layer.
Do
at
you
some
have
point.
socks for Brooks? in
No,
case he
I have
needs
a
some?
I made a mistake. The 2 socks was a good move that I should have. That's a veteran move that I
did
screwed
two,
up on.
two thick socks.
I have one
I
pair
have
of
the
thin
normal.
socks.
I have the normal socks.
Oh.
I have the normal socks.
You know
Now-
what I also did not do? I thought about it in my game plan. I thought about the blanket for the legs. The Derek
See,
Mason.
legs are good. Legs are good.
Now, Derek
Mace-
Mason had the
D-Mace
blanket
used
for
to
the
do that.
legs and the heater.
Yeah, he did.
Well,
the
and he had
heated blanket.
He had the heated blanket. Yeah. he
and I
always-
used to always look at him and say, D-Mace, how
the
did you
beanie.
play in Baltimore in November and December? How did you do that?
I think it's hilarious because like the 2 teams that were after him the most were the Patriots and the Ravens.
Cold weather
in-
places.
In 2 cold weather places.
Yeah.
He would have hated life playing at Foxborough.
Well,
I mean,
was
Baltimore's not much
I was
better.
gonna say, is it
Yeah.
any different, really, than
No,
Baltimore?
probably not. Now, I do have this question, Willie.
Zamboni coming by.
Yeah, here the Zam coming by. You have elected not to protect the head. Obviously, we know that that's an area for you that you need to worry about.
Yeah.
So you have not worn the beanie or the toque.
I got
or
no
whatever.
lettuce up there to help me out. I do have the hoodie in the 5th layer, so that I've got now 63 minutes before I feel like.
Did you plan on not bringing the beanie, or
I thought about the hat. I got the hat in the car, but I was like, I need to toughen up. I gotta. If I'm going to the ski cap early, like what's gonna happen when we go to Winnipeg?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You gotta toughen yourself up a little bit. Condition yourself.
Winnipeg is that's tough.
Well, first road game of the year is Winnipeg. Yeah,
first road
it'll
game.
be snowing by then.
It could be. It could be.
It'll be snowing.
It absolutely could be.
No doubt.
I've seen it.
In the 1 o'clock hour, I'll be.
You'll be going outside.
I'll be going outside.
Yeah, that's cool.
To warm up.
That's
fine.
another tactic that we've learned. You sneak out the back door for a little heat wave.
Yeah.
During breaks.
This is why I'm going to propose.
You're proposing? To who?
Congratulations.
Thank
That
you.
is awesome, Chase.
But we don't know what the answer is.
You didn't even tell us.
Yeah, some secrets are, just kept.
All right, wait. What's the proposal?
The proposal is we need to get our friends at Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey to come on board for best shots of the week.
Oh, yeah.
And then that helps us at the end of the show warm up a little bit.
You're saying to have some?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think that would help us warm up a little.
Oh, okay.
Just saying.
Well, I could use that today because I just thought of something. I have a Zoom at 2 o'clock for our production meeting for tomorrow's broadcast. So I need to make it. I need to make it. Well, no, but I was thinking, like, where should I be? I was thinking, should I go to the car? But I really ought to to do it right, I should sit here.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that means I got to make it to 2:30.
Ooh.
I think you'll be okay.
Because I could pull the ripcord and go out to my car and sit in there, which I'll be glad to be hot in the car.
Yep. All right, we'll come back. Doobie Brother tickets on the line for the best. You just made the list. Who or what has made you mad? Your phone calls to begin the 3rd hour of Darren, Daunic, and Chase. That's next.
Are you angry? No, really. Has that one person got you fuming? Well, call them out. Now's your chance to tell them.
You know what? You just made the list.
You just made the list.
Here we go.
Let us know who's on your list. Call 615-737-1025. You just made the list. Now, on Darren, Daunic, and Chase.
All right, it's You Just Made the List time. Third hour, Darren, Daunic, and Chase here on this Friday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a good day thus far. We are live at Centennial Sportsplex as the Predators come back out of the locker room for a second time and back onto the ice. So hopefully we'll have a player. We should have the captain, Roman Josi, whenever they wrap up this second practice session. But right now, it is time for you to release going to the weekend. It's time for you to let go and let loose of who or what's been bothering you. Somebody's made you mad. Something's made you mad. It's time for you to jump onto the phone lines and tell us. 615-737-1025. That is our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025. Can we combine the Doobie Brothers and the Preds tickets for tomorrow, or no?
No.
No. No.
We got rules. We got rules.
No. Okay. So we've got Doobie Brothers tickets, Bridgestone Arena, October 25th. They've been doing it for a while. They've been at it for a while.
But we can award 2 winners if we want.
Oh, we could
do
do
that.
2 separate. We could have 2 winners for You Just Made the List?
Yeah.
Oh, I like where your head's at.
Yeah, we can do that.
I like that. That's good. You're not just a hat rack after all.
I'm more than that. More than a pretty face.
You're not
for
just
radio.
arm candy, are you?
No. I'm not. But thank you. I think.
All right. Who wants now that we've gotten off to the awkward start, who wants
Yeah,
to
the Preds are on
begin?
the ice.
Hey.
All right, I'll get it started. On the list, I'm done with the thing where every time you get a turnover in the game, everybody runs down to the camera in the corner of the end zone and does the skit or whatever. It's like, I understand last year there were no fans. That served a purpose, and it was new, it was exciting. But it's time to move on from that. Get excited when you get a turnover and stuff. Go over to the sideline, celebrate. But last year, I put the turnover props on the list. I'm done with that, where you wear the crown, or you sit on a throne, or you've been given a belt or something. Like, football's been played for a long time. Getting turnovers is part of it. It's what you want to be doing on defense.
So you don't want to celebrate?
You celebrate, but it's over the top. I've had enough of it. I'm going to be the get off my lawn guy.
Stick in the mud.
Stick in the mud.
This is what I'm just
But
saying.
it just takes too long. Like, you get a turnover on the 20-yard line, and you're running all the way down to the other side to look in the camera and do the thing. I'm done with that.
I'm using one of Jared's phrases here, but you're just a pawpaw. That's what you're being right now. You and Joe Rexroad.
On this one, I am.
You and Joe Rexroad are pawpaws, and you don't like he doesn't like good music and complains about certain music. And
Okay, but don't lump me in with that. I love good music.
No, I know, but like you're complaining about.
Like Robbie and Rexroad. By the way, Robbie wearing shorts and
Yes.
a T-shirt today. Very
And
questionable.
he's complaining about it being cold
Yeah.
at Centennial.
What was he thinking?
Well, by
he's
the
a
way-
veteran. That's
By the way, no, he's not complaining. But his tweet to
He said
you
it's
is funny.
so cold in Centennial.
No, he said it's so cold in Centennial Sportsplex that DMAC 1025's hair can truly be described as frosted tips. I think that was more of just a shot at you
Okay.
than him complaining. But what's wrong
But
with a little
no, but they were
celebrating?
talking about how they don't like new music and stuff. I'm progressive with
Okay,
that. But
yes,
on
you
this
are. You're
one,
cutting edge.
I'm tired of the running all the way down. It takes too much time. Celebrate on the sideline, get excited right there in the moment. But we don't need to do the rehearsed thing in front of the camera
Coach
after a
Willie.
turnover.
Oh, my gosh.
Coach Willie.
Holy
They didn't
crap.
score a touchdown. It's not a touchdown. It's not a touchdown. It's a turnover.
So you just
Good.
think you get a turnover and you run over it. You don't want the chain or any of that stuff.
Like, that's really what's bothering you, really?
That's on the
That's-
list. It's been on the
that's
list for
what's
a
bothering
while. Yeah, I've been waiting to unveil that one, and just to make sure my
Pawpaw.
feelings were really
Baby
there.
Ruth.
I've had enough of it. I've had enough of it.
Just a big
It's a
old
turnover. It's not a touchdown.
Baby Ruth floating in the pool, man.
Yes.
They got to blow the whistle and shut everything down for a couple hours.
Takes too long. Takes too long.
Okay. Am I up? My turn?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Now, I live on the west side of town. There's
do.
a nice area called Nashville West, and I love Nashville West. Got a lot of businesses over there. The Target,
there's a
Best Buy.
Yeah.
No, and all those places are great. My issue is whoever designed certain things, and I've brought this up before, but it's just really come to a head because there are several areas in which you have to turn out of the parking lot.
Yeah, getting in and out of that place is a problem.
And you can't see.
It's a problem.
There's no, you can't see. There's bushes in the way, or there's a rock wall that looks real nice, but you can't see. Prime example. When you go up, there's a spot where you go up the hill, and there's an Outback, there's a Chipotle, and there's a Starbucks. And to go up this hill, you have to make a left.
Yes.
It's a hard left.
That is hard to get up there.
But the issue with that is you can't see around that turn to know who's coming. And a lot of times people come flying off that hill, which they're on the list for that, and they're in the middle of the drive, and so you're about to have a head-on collision. So I'm like, can we put a mirror up? You know, you see that a lot of times around turns. Where
It's a very steep hill.
It's a steep hill, and I understand you got to have the turn in there, but it's very difficult to navigate, and there have been so many close calls in which I've almost had an accident because I can't see or the other person can't see. I feel like it's a design flaw. So therefore, the designers.
You just made the list.
I'm with you on that. That's a tricky place to get in and out. That's one example. There's a lot of other ones. Just getting in and out of that place is a zoo.
Yep. It's a great place, though. I love it.
Once you get in there, everything's fine. Yeah.
I hesitate with this because, we've just piled on Willie, and I don't want – and this is going to come off the same way. Because I'm not no fun guy. I'm fine with fun. I'm okay with
fun.
But
I love fun.
Sometimes. You're part-time fun.
You're
part-time fun.
I think you have a different definition of fun than some of us.
Sometimes. We all do. I'm into fun.
But gosh, I really don't. But it's got to be on the list.
Come on. Bring it out. Bring it.
Woo! We're in Nashville. Woo! Oh my gosh, this
Broadway.
is the greatest thing ever. The party buses and
The woo
tanks
girls.
and
You're
the
going to go there. You're
tractors
going there.
Here's the thing. I don't have a problem if that's what you're going to do when you're here visiting in town. Okay. But here's what I've discovered, and anybody who's been downtown, first of all, they have taken over downtown. They're every car. They're every other car.
Oh, man. There's a lot of them.
And here's the thing.
Okay.
I'm not mad that you're having fun. I'm okay with it. But when we're sitting at the stoplight together, you having fun and yelling at me in the car is not going to make me go, oh, my gosh. You know what? I'm going to park the car. I'm going to join you guys next block. I'll be down there in just a minute. It's you don't need to yell, woo, at every car. Woo, look at us dancing. Oh, I got a drink in my hand. Woo. Just have fun.
I know where Chase is
But you don't
going.
have to do that with every car.
I mean,
Chase got left. That they had an episode.
yeah, well, I did. I wasn't wooing.
You got
I just
left.
had to pee, and I got left.
Yeah.
But still not over that. But
It's a bit much.
I have
It's
the
a bit
question.
much.
It is a bit much.
I think we all agree. I'm 100% with you.
Can we scale back?
And I'm
scale
into
back?
fun. I'm into fun with this. But my proposal, and I think I didn't make up this proposal, but I've heard. Can we put a salary cap on how many of those things can be going?
That's what I'm getting at. Can
Yeah.
we scale back?
We need to scale back a little bit.
No,
I don't
we
want to
need to
eliminate them.
No, we need to
It's
scale
like
back
the scooters.
a lot.
The scooter, we've had some
Yes.
really sad things that have
Yes.
happened on scooters, and they have reeled them in, but it's still.
well,
It creates all kind. When you have this commotion of all the barges and the
right.
and the buses and everything like that, plus the scooters, it's a
well,
recipe
too much.
for
And
trouble.
You're leaving out the big because some laws have changed and everything, so you can have drinks on these things, and so
Yes.
when you combine alcohol with everything, then you're getting into
that's the
trouble.
whole point to begin with. Yeah.
And I have said, you have said, we have all said for years, close Broadway. Just close it.
Just close it down.
You know, between 5th and
First.
3rd. Or you
Second.
can leave second.
Second.
You can
Okay.
leave second as a cross street. That's fine. But between 5th and 3rd, close it. And they do some on the weekends, and they do for big events and stuff. Close it. You don't need it open. It's asking for trouble. People, it is worse than ever, and you can't tell me that it's not. Of people just like, they don't even care about crosswalks anymore.
No.
People just walk in front of you. They're like, hit me.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah,
You know, like-
there's no doubt.
Like, there was a guy, literally, I was pulling out after the Preds game. I was pulling out of the garage, and this guy walked in front of me and yelled at me, bleeping hit me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have
sure about that?
I have the light. Like, what do you want me to do? But people just don't care. So, yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It's just too much. Can we scale back?
Let's bring it down
like
a
lot.
notch. Yeah.
No, several notches.
A couple notches.
Not just one. Like, I don't want just a mini scale back. Like, we need to scale back. It's too much. That's all.
You just made the list.
All right, let's find out what you have out there. We've got loaded lines. We've got 2 prizes, 2 great prizes attached. Let's find out who or what has made you mad. Let's start things off with Vincent. Vincent, welcome in.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. All right, here's who made my list. Urban Meyer. And obviously it's not for what you think. That outfit that he's wearing in that video, that's what made him when my daughter was starting dating and getting in her 20s and all that stuff, I would point a man out that was dressed like that, and I would say, that man right there, 1, wouldn't be able to help you out in a sticky situation. 2, probably doesn't know how to change a flat tire. And 3 is just odds-on favorite that he's an absolute, we'll just call him a defensive back, okay, to DB. and it just, it screams, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. And he proved me right. But that he made my list. And then just real quick, hey, do you know one good thing about listening to Stillman after a Titans loss?
This should be good.
No, I'm asking you. Do you know one good thing about listening to Stillman after a Titans loss?
I mean, I think he's got.
I can't come up with one. All right, you gentlemen have a good day.
I was waiting for
I
the
thought he was
punchline.
going
I
with the
thought-
one.
I thought he was too.
I thought there was a punchline.
He was asking without an
No,
answer.
it was like a
Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
legitimate question.
I thought it was rhetorical, and then
Yeah,
I got
okay.
drug into it.
It's
So,
a good anti-joke.
yeah,
Okay. Thank you, Vince.
I walked into that.
615-737-1025. So if a guy can't change a tire, he can't date his daughter, I guess? I don't know.
It's a good skill to have.
Well, it is, but
Yeah, I mean, I can change a tire. I just choose to call AAA.
yeah. My version is just fix a flat. Just
Oh,
spray
don't
it
do
in
that.
there.
Don't do that.
Spray it in there.
No, that's so bad.
Why?
It's bad for the tire.
It's
no.
already if
Yeah.
it's already got issues, what's the problem?
Yeah, but you can pat. You can if the tire no, don't do that. Come on, Darren. No.
Why?
Because you want to be able to fix the tire, and that messes up stuff on the inside. And
Does it?
They tell you not to use that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't. Just call. Just
Learn
call
something
somebody.
new every day. Let's go to Doug. Doug, who or what is on your list?
I've got a group on my list. People on my list are already on a list. They're on the Titans recently published sick and shut-in list. So anybody that made that list, you now made 2. The team I probably ain't going to play this Sunday list, and the 102.5, you just made the list Friday list. I shouldn't have to need a roster printed right in front of me to know who's on the field. And some of these guys are getting paid big bucks to be sideline decoration in some cool Titans gear. So sometimes I got to get up and go to work when I'm not my best. Get up, wake up, and go kick somebody's butt. So that's my list. I would love to see somebody that we pay big money to get a turnover chain and go violate Willie's list.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wouldn't mind seeing it because that means
I
they
don't
haven't.
mind
Yeah.
if I just see somebody go get the chain, run to the camera that we paying big money to, and piss Willie Plum off. Because this is ridiculous. You're
I'll
on
be
2
glad
lists
to be
in 1
mad
week.
if it's the Titans. If it's the Titans doing that, I'll be glad to be mad if they do that.
So these guys make 2 lists, that list and the Friday list. I'm
You
out.
just made the list.
That's good. Well said, Doug.
A texter says it's bad for the rim. Talking about the foot
Okay. It's bad for the rim.
Yeah, because it's all the inside, like the inside of the tire and the rim and everything.
It's about the guts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the glory.
Let's go to Foster. Who or what is on your list?
Hey, guys. Happy Friday. Mine's pretty simple and straightforward. The Kansas City Chiefs on my list, and here's why. 2 weeks ago, I was inspired by that story that was floating around about the guy who was a Lions win away from hitting a 16-leg full slate NFL parlay, and I tried my hand at the same thing, and I got 15 out of 16, and the Chiefs were the reason that I didn't turn a simple $1 into $2,300. So that's all I got. Is the Chiefs on my list? Because I know I'm never getting that.
No,
close.
wait a minute, Foster. You did 16 money lines in the NFL. You picked all 16 games.
That's right. I went all 16 money lines from Thursday night through Monday Night Football, and I got 6 out of 6 on my underdog, and overall 15 out of 16. And the Chiefs losing to the Chargers was the reason that I didn't get.
And it was a dollar bet for $2,300.
That was it. $1, and the payout would have been $2,300. Yep.
Wow, that's disgusting.
You just made the list.
That's disgusting.
I knew when he said the Chiefs, I was like, there's something gambling here.
Oh, boy.
But,
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Golly. Oof. That's brutal.
Kathy agrees with you on You Just Made the List on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. The party tractors, barges, etc. I got behind 3 of them in about 4 blocks trying to get home, and that was in the Gulch.
It
They're
takes
everywhere.
forever.
Yeah.
And they just yell at you and, woo, we're having the best. Okay, great. Okay, that's awesome. What do you want me to do? I'm in my car.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about it.
I
That's
just feel like
awesome.
during rush hour especially, maybe
It's
let's
just-
not do it.
It's too much. It just is. Steven, who or what is on your list?
What's up, gentlemen? I will say before I get to my list that the last time that someone shamed somebody's hair on this radio station, it ended up in a gift card. So you might want to hear that from Robbie's family for that. So,
Nicely
Elijah,
done.
get the. I'll go on and get to my list. Elijah, get the bell ready. Jared Stillman. So I was on the way home yesterday listening to Stillman on the radio with my 3-year-old son's in the car, and you'll never guess what word he learned from Jared.
Oh, no.
The other word for butt.
Oh, no.
So now I've got my 3-year-old. I'm saying, hey, I know you don't listen to the radio, but don't say that word. So, Jared, you made the list.
You just made the list.
Okay.
All right, Steven, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I've been in that position before.
Yeah.
Had the little one in the car and like,
Oops.
hey. Ooh.
I mean,
Ah.
we could all be
Yep.
put on that list. Well, I don't know if Willie could be, but most of us could be put on that list because I've been known to have a potty mouth sometimes. And
On the air?
yeah, I mean, within FCC regulations.
Okay.
But,
Good at towing the line.
yeah. Damn right.
You just made the list.
Thank you.
Let's go to Bruce. Bruce, who or what is on your list?
You know, guys, I'm like Bully. This one has been on my mind for a long time. But this week, between all the Urban Meyer reporting and the fact that the Titans are playing Jacksonville, I'm putting everyone on the list who insists on pronouncing the word Jaguars as Jaguars. Putting a W in that word is akin to Vince Young pronouncing Harold as honor.
So how do you say it properly?
Well, there's no
Bruce?
wire. You don't say
There
wire.
It's Jaguar. They're Jaguars.
Jaguar.
Not Jaguars, Jaguars.
Not Jaguar.
That is a weird thing. Well,
It
no,
is.
Jaguar is the car people do it that way, like intentionally. Like if you see a commercial and the woman doing the thing, she says it over and over and over. She must have been told that's how they want to say it. There's a story behind that, but I know it's definitely not wires. That's what a lot of people say wrong.
Yeah.
The Jaguars.
Yeah.
I don't know why that happens. Why does that happen?
I don't know.
It's not in the spelling.
Almost have to do it like a British accent. Jaguar.
Jaguar.
A Jaguar.
But there's no wire, even in London.
Thank you, Bruce.
Jaguar.
Have a good weekend. 615-737.
That's why I just say Jags.
1025. It
Safer.
is easier.
Safer to go Jags.
Kenny the mailman. Who or what is on your list?
Fellas, I have a good list and bad list. Call me childish, but uniforms are so important to me when I watch sporting games. I just love the uniforms. Monday night on the good list, it almost brought a tear to my eye when I sat down to watch the Chargers versus the Raiders.
Oh, I love
because in my mind, I was sitting with my dad, and we were watching John Hadle versus Darren Lovitz, because I go all the way back to the AFL games, and we used to enjoy that because we actually bought a color TV to watch the uniforms. But then, and that was a great moment. That was almost a Field of Dreams moment. But then last night, I turned the TV on, and it was two teams that I thought I was watching the movie Rollerball, and I don't mean the good one, the bad remake. One team was glowing, and it messed up the color on my TV, and the Rams looked like they had lost their uniforms and were borrowing a high school pair. So, uniforms are important. Nike, quote-unquote, spends millions on them to design them. Just go back and steal the designs of the 70s, and we'll all be happy. Y'all have a great day.
You just made the list.
Along those lines, I'm going to bring something up to you guys. I'm glad Kenny brought up the Chargers-Raiders game. Something that's been going on in the NFL. It's been going on for a long time, but is it time to put a stop to this? I'll tell you what I'm talking about on the other side.
Oh.
As you listen to the DDC
It's a tease.
on ESPN 1025 The Game. give you a chance to win some Predators tickets during the month of October, which we're currently in. All you have to do is just post a picture of your radio set on 102.5 The Game to a social media, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Tag the game and use the hashtag TicketDash to be instantly qualified to win. Show us your dash, brought to you by Social Furniture. Shop local, shop social. So keep those pictures coming in. They've been fantastic. Just show us that you're listening to 102.5 The Game. You have a chance to win tickets to a Predators game.
All right, Darren, I'm on patrol.
TicketDash.
I'm on patrol right now, Darren. I'm not ignoring your issue from the tees.
He's on
but
puck
this
patrol.
is the prime time where they start ripping these shots. They're kind of in that freelance at the end of practice. So there's some guys practicing shooting. So I'm going to be on the lookout, Chase. I'm going to be, if a puck goes over and hits one of us, it's on me.
Okay. I'm equally going to be on the lookout. I'm curious to hear Darren's question.
Yes.
Okay, so it was brought up. Kenny brought up the Chargers-Raiders game, the uniforms, and then, of course, the uniforms last night. But that's not where I'm going with this. We're now through how many weeks in the NFL? We're starting week 5, right? Last night was the beginning of week 5.
Yes.
True.
Every single week this year in the NFL, after the weekend's conclusion, we have had either a viral video or viral videos, plural, of fans just beating the snot out of each other in the stands or out in the parking lots. And some of it's some of it's fan base on fan base.
Yeah.
The Browns one was 2 Browns fans fighting.
Yep.
You've got Chargers Cowboys. There was a big brawl in the parking lot. Monday night, huge brawl in the stands between the Chargers and the Raiders fans. We know there were a lot of Raiders fans in attendance in L.A. I know this stuff has been going on forever, and what really stood out to me, and not that I needed this because it's been there the whole time, but in the video that I was watching of the Chargers-Raiders, and the Raiders fans just attacking this Chargers fan, behind that stuff, sitting there in the stands, was about a 10 or 11-year-old kid with his dad.
Yeah.
And his dad's trying to protect him from these idiots fighting in the stands. Like, at what point is the NFL going to put a stop to this idiocy in the stands of their games, of their product? Who wants to take anyone that's under the age of 18 to an NFL game right now and put themselves around this environment?
Right. Well, so let me ask you this. How do you stop it? I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, I totally 100% agree with you, but how do you stop it? You can't, like we've talked about this with, everything. Everything's understaffed right now. So having extra security and ushers and people that usually monitor that stuff, is they're limited right now. And I mean, really the best way to do it is you're going to take away alcohol because that's what's causing a lot of it.
Of course.
But
and that's not going to happen. We know that.
Yeah,
I think one of the answers, honestly, is to open up the wallet and pay the security more money, because there's no question that there's a shortage of people. It dawned on me, I went to the opening game of the Titans, and we didn't have any problems with fans fighting or anything, but I looked around. I didn't see there was not an usher at every gate.
Yeah.
And I know that this has been a thing that's come up. Staffing for concession stands, staffing for ushers. There's only so much an usher can do also if a fight breaks out. It's not like these ushers are bodybuilders.
Right,
these aren't bouncers that are standing there. These are people that can get on the horn and find somebody, but it takes a while in a football stadium for the people to arrive. So you're going to have to pay for more people, more qualified people, or people in uniform. There's just that's the only thing I can think of, because it stinks. I don't like it. It's become too much. It's always been something that has happened. I went to games as a kid where I saw stuff like that. Yankee Stadium was crazy in the 1970s. when I went.
But see, here's the difference.
But
now,
there's like it's like
everybody's got their phones.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're all
Yeah.
videoing it, and it's going viral. Millions and millions of people are watching this lunacy, and that, like I said, either in the tailgate in the parking lots, where these are brawls. Okay, there's groups of people on one side, groups of people on the other side, and it's bad.
Well, I mean, there was one that I saw, because like you said, all this goes viral, and there's one I saw a few weeks ago where there was like a girl sitting in the middle of it, and she just got like mowed over because these two guys were going at it and basically fell on top of her. I mean, so it's, you know, a lot of innocent people that, you know, get involved in it. But, you know, how you started this of saying like there was a dad with his kid, you know, that's where it kind of hits you of that you don't want to expose your son or daughter to that, and because it's a dangerous situation.
So now these leagues have said we're not going to tolerate. Okay, watch out.
Heads up. There you go.
Where
that way?
Where did that go?
It went all the way up.
I saw it coming right towards us.
Oh,
yeah. Partners got it.
Where did it end up landing?
Behind you.
It landed right here,
Yeah.
between us, Darren. It was close. that was live bullets right there. That was Mr. Ellie Tolvanen that fired that thing off the crossbar.
Goodness.
Yeah, we'll have a little. We'll have a little conversation with him. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stand now.
Oh no, I'm telling you, man, that thing came in. I was ready for it, and I couldn't do anything about it. That was an incoming.
That was funny, and then the guys, of course, are laughing at us for ducking out of the way. So
that thing was coming in
maybe
with some hair on it.
That was coming in hot.
I need a stick. Maybe Dante will give me a stick.
That was coming in hot.
And remember, they're not done. They're still firing.
Oh, I know. Came in humming. But I go back.
These leagues are now telling fans, we're not going to let you yell at players and coaches. We're not going to let you do whatever you want. And they're banning them from buildings.
Yeah.
So if they can do that in arenas, can't they do that in NFL stadiums?
Sure. But, you know, you also have more ground to cover in an NFL stadium.
Right.
Like, my whole point is being able to monitor everything. Because, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to stop everything. Like, people are going to be idiots no matter what. And so if the fight starts, you got to get to it to break it up.
Yeah.
Now,
and it's hard to navigate it, get there all the time. You almost have to have somebody that is on it early and texts before it really gets going.
Right.
You can say, hey, I got something brewing over
they
here.
have
Keep
have
an
all
eye
those
on
signs
section over here. But you can't wait till it starts, because then when it starts, it's too late. It's got to be, you got to get it before.
You have all those signs hanging up that say, like, if you see something, text this number.
Yeah, if you see something, say something.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm already reading stuff that there are certain venues now that are already putting out people are the chatter is they're like, hey, I want to go to this game, but I don't know if I want to wear my favorite team's jersey.
Right. No,
but
right.
I don't think I would wear another team's jersey, the road team's jersey.
Which
I don't think I would do it.
See that? And that
is that what you want your product? Is that the perception you want for people who are paying high-priced tickets?
Yeah.
They're paying a lot of money for tickets.
But being
that
safe,
they don't want to wear a jersey of their favorite team because they're scared for their safety.
But it's absolutely something you should consider.
No, I'm saying that's what I was reading. That there are fan bases out there saying, I want to go to this game on the road, but I'm not sure I want to wear my favorite team's jersey.
And honestly, there are people that are the other end of the spectrum. Not only are they going with the other team's jersey, they're going in looking for trouble, getting hammered with all of the get up, and so it's almost like it invites this kind of situation with your guy on the other side, right? The likes to fight guy fan, I'm coming in, I'm Mr. Titan, going over to Jacksonville. Look at me, man. I am here, man. I'm loud. And then you sit next to the likes to fight guy who's in the Jaguar. Hey, man, this guy's coming into and then here we go. Right? Two drunk guys who challenge each other, and it's a thing.
But when they're
Like
with their
they're-
buddies, then it turns into this big group thing.
But there's a little bit of unfortunately, there's a little bit of a culture that kind of like partially hopes that something like that happens. I hate to say it, but there's some people that are, there's no other explanation.
You're saying they're going to the game looking for that?
I'm not saying that they're looking for it, but they're not opposed to having something like that happen. And kind of saying, hey, wasn't that fun? We got into that scrap with those guys over there. It's like part of the thing. You can't tell me there's some Raider fans that don't have some of that.
I mean, look,
they dress up like they're in the, it's intentional. They're going
at
to look for stuff like that.
At Bama MA12 on Twitter tweets at us and says, "This is why I have not been to a Titans game in 15 years. I took my 8-year-old son to the Ravens-Titans playoff game. There was pushing and shoving in an already jam-tight bathroom. I just don't want to be around those type of folks." And I've got to be honest, I don't know if there was a survey. I would have to say the Titans games are probably towards the bottom of the league. Wouldn't you think of this stuff or no?
I would think so. I mean,
I don't know. Not a lot has come to our attention.
Don't you think we'd be aware if this stuff was going on all the time?
Well, the only thing I would say is you have a lot of fans from the other team that come in to the Titan Stadium at times.
I know when I was young, I say young, I was 12 or something, but my dad and I went to a Titans-Raiders game, and even then I was like, and we were in the Raiders section, and I was kind of like, whoa, because they were all dressed up and they were rowdy and drunk and everything.
I would have to say there's a lot of percentage of these fights that are between the two fan bases, right?
Yeah.
It's usually, like you use the example, there is an occasional one where it's
two
same
Browns
fan,
fans.
but most of the time,
I saw two Cowboys fans.
It's a duel between opposing fans.
So
right?
a texter on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. I will not be bringing my daughter to any Titans games. During our last home game, a guy showed up to the game completely drunk out of his mind and was shouting obscenities in front of some little kids and their father. And some words were exchanged, and then there was some pushing and shoving. Security had to come.
Wow.
I mean, it's an unfortunate part of it, but like the jersey stuff, like you should be able to wear whatever you want to whatever game. Like you should be allowed to cheer for your team. But there are some people, some fan bases that are like, in some places that would literally kill you for supporting the other team.
And they're going to engage.
Yeah.
They go in engaging in the trash talk back and forth. And if it's done in good fun, it can be a hilarious, great thing.
I've chirped.
But some people can't. They can't process and know where to draw the line.
Well, we know the difference between why some people can and some people can't. Some people have a clear head. Some don't.
Yes, exactly. And some, like I said, they don't mind it. They're like, oh, I hope it escalates. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Because I can, if this guy does this again, I'll do something to this guy. There's a lot of this that goes on.
Yeah.
It's not a huge percentage. But when you have a small percentage that have that, it ruins it for a lot of people.
Right. So it's an issue that needs to be fixed, but unfortunately I don't know if it's ever going to go away. I mean, you're going to have to – I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it, controlled a little bit more, but it's all about security personnel.
I've always wondered this too.
Do you think that privately, not publicly, privately, do you think – NFL franchises really care? Do you think the league cares?
Yeah, I do.
To a point.
I think to a point. Yeah, I mean, they're at the end of the day, especially in an era where you have so many teams. Like, people may not remember this. I know you guys do. Remember, there used to be a rule that if you didn't sell out, you couldn't watch the game in your market. That's how much it's changed. And so now there's an attendance problem across the board, not just the NFL, like across the board, because of cell phones and people wanting to watch at sports bars and have more access and yada, yada, yada. So they know they have to address it, that they have to care a little bit just because things are, they're not, people aren't fighting for tickets as much anymore. They're fighting to sell out. So I certainly think they maybe they don't care about it as much as they should, but I think they do care.
Now I've seen it out every week. Like I said, most of the time it's plural. I mean, these huge. I mean, we're going into week 5, and every single week there's these massive brawls at NFL games, in the stands, or out in the parking lot, or both. And I'm like, wow, is this gonna be like the whole season? Is this how this is gonna go? And like I said, I know this has been going on forever. I get it.
Sure.
I'm not naive. I've been to all these games. I know. I've seen this stuff before. I went to Buffalo. We had Warren Moon on. I went to the Bills-Vikings in December in a blizzard, and I went to the bathroom during halftime, and it was packed in there, and I watched a guy right in front of me, a complete stranger, get knocked out. He was in a Vikings jersey, and a Bills guy knocked him out. He laid in the floor.
Yeah.
Right in front of me.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've all.
This was 25 years ago.
Sure.
So, I mean, I know this stuff has been going on. I've watched it. I've seen all this. But we're now kicking fans. We're now banning fans from arenas for life.
Yeah.
We're now saying, leagues are already saying, you're no longer going to be able to do certain things anymore. Like, you cannot do that.
But
when it's happened before and they didn't have any repercussions, now leagues are saying, you know what, you're no longer welcome in our building.
But let me play devil's advocate for just a second, because I've had this conversation with my friends. Yes, they are. They are banning people for life. How can you truly?
I don't know.
I was just going to ask you guys
don't
that.
know.
I was thinking about that.
It's a good question.
They can take you off the season ticket register or whatever, but you got ways of getting in there.
Like the Predators could say, Willie, you're banned for life.
They could.
Okay, and you can't. However, Darren could buy tickets and hand
take
you
me
a
along.
ticket.
Yeah.
And now, unless they have your picture passed out to security, which they might, but I mean, you can change your appearance. I mean, there's things to get around it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you truly do that. I just know they're making an attempt to do that. I wonder if the NFL should start making an attempt to do that.
It's been going on for a long time.
I know. I understand that. But just something.
And wouldn't we say that NFL, there's a higher level of this than there is in college? At college games in general?
I don't know about that.
Or do you think the college games
I would say
are just as bad?
If I was putting together the pecking order, I would think NFL's number one.
Yeah.
Probably.
But I think it does happen in college because, I mean, you get
course.
drunk college kids.
Sure.
Never know what's going to happen.
All right, we will come back, and we'll wrap up the third hour of Darren, Daunic, and Chase next.
Okay.
Pick 6 coming up on the final hour of the program. We're live here at Centennial Sportsplex, back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Our show presented by Corretion CBD, products curated for life. Don't forget to check out our NFL Game of the Week, which is brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. Our game this week will be the Browns and the Chargers. Kickoff is set for 3:05 p.m. So if you're looking for something to listen to after the Titans-Jags game, check out the Browns and the Chargers.
That's going to be a good one.
I agree.
I think that'll be a really good one.
I think the Chargers are going to win.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Line's really low, right? Like 1 or 2?
Yeah. Let's see. According to my friends at BetMGM, it is 2.5.
2.5 Chargers
Yep.
or Browns?
Chargers.
Chargers favored by 2.5.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
There he is.
Ah, look at this guy.
Good timing.
The captain.
The captain, Roman Yossi, has made his way to the table.
It's good to actually see him
in person. Wow. I don't know if he feels the same way.
Properly.
But, we feel good about seeing you. You may not feel that way
me
about
too.
us.
I feel
Hey,
great about it.
by the way, congratulations. I'm sure that was a tough decision for your where you're from, Switzerland, to choose you to represent them. But nonetheless, great honor.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It is. It's awesome. I mean, I got the chance to play once, so
yeah,
it was fun.
Also, Roman, you can illustrate this. The Swiss program, the number of guys in the league, just the way that the whole country has progressed in hockey is really amazing over the last few years.
Yeah, it has been. It really has been. I mean, I don't know, like looking back when I was, 14, playing in Switzerland, juniors and stuff, the only guy we really had was Mark Streit, right? We had a couple goalies before, so it's pretty cool to see how many guys play in the NHL now and how competitive we've been in the World Championships in the past too.
How was your off season?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good, yeah.
Anything different going on this off season?
Yeah, a little bit.
than others?
Yeah. No, spent a lot of time with my family, obviously, and we went back to Switzerland first time for my son Luca to go back to Switzerland. Met a lot of my family because they couldn't come over during the pandemic. So it was pretty cool to have him meet everyone.
So how's it being a dad?
It's good. It's great. We've been lucky. He's good. He's sleeps really well.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. He's almost 8 months now, so he's
crawling.
No, he's not crawling yet.
Okay.
But I think he's getting there. So but he's getting a lot more personality and he's interacting a lot more. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're in that window now where the crawling, walking, you're in like the next 4 months.
Yeah.
All that's going to come fast.
Yeah, I know. That's what I heard. Like you hope they're crawling soon, but then once they crawl, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I like it when you couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah. It's a game changer once they get going. So now that you're back and you look around and some different teammates, what do you think? Obviously, you guys are younger, but let's just start with a guy that you played alongside for a long time, Ryan Ellis, no longer in the mix.
Yeah. It's definitely different. I mean, there's some guys who've been here like Ellie for a long time, and they're not here anymore. So it's a little bit of a different look, and but it's exciting. I mean, we got a lot of young guys, a lot of young guys who have to prove something, like getting a new role, getting a bigger role, and it's been an exciting camp. It's been a lot of fun.
Did you feel like it rubbed off on you guys last year? Just, the young guys bring a different energy. You know how that is. You've been there.
Yeah, for sure. I think last year especially, I mean, we had so many injuries, so many guys stepped in and played really well. And it was kind of the turning point of our season when all those young guys came in. I think it's always good. They bring a lot of energy. It's kind of a different feel in the room a little bit. And, that's why I think we're all excited for this year.
What about playing alongside a guy like Carrier who, got his opportunity, made the most of it last year, and here he is playing big minutes, and he's playing big minutes with you last year.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, he's such a good player, and he's always been a really good player. I mean, every camp before that he came to, he was always one of those guys where you're like, wow, this guy's really good, and I think it was just a matter of time for him to take that next step and be a regular in the NHL. And last year was his chance, and he took full advantage of it. And I mean, I love playing with him. He's a great player.
Another one of those long-time faces, Roman, we were talking about last week when we were here. It's still going to take some getting used to, right? Not seeing 35 around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you've ever known since you've been here.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he's been here since I got here, and not just been here, right? He's such a huge part of this organization. So much success with him, and he was the backbone of this organization for so long. So it's definitely different not having him around. And but yeah, he's in a good place. He's happy, and I think that's what matters most. But we definitely miss him here.
You had to experience something over the last 18 months, really, that you've never gone through. We've talked so much about the atmosphere and playing in front of the fans, and all that went away. Now that it's starting to feel back like that again, you have to believe that's going to help. But what was it like going through the no fans, a little bit of fans?
Yeah, you know what? It was in the beginning. It was. I think you're excited for the season, right? The first couple of games, you're just playing, but then after a while, you start missing the fans, because I think once we had fans back, that's when you realize how different it is with fans in the building, and it makes the game so much more fun, and so we're all glad that fans are back this year for sure.
We're talking to Captain Roman Josi, and Roman, it's been interesting to watch. You guys won 20 out of your last 28. That series with the Hurricanes. The last 4 games go to overtime. It was really tight. And yet, here we are this year. You look around the league, there's not a lot of hype. I'm looking at really more from the outside predictions and things like that. I'm just curious how you guys view that. There's a little bit of, I don't want to say lack of respect, but, expectations a little bit lower. How do you try to channel that? Because, as you said, I think I see a real confident young group here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think it's just with all the changes we had, obviously our team looks a little bit different, and but you know what? It's I think the last couple of years, a lot of times we were one of the favorites. Obviously, the outside, the expectations from the outside were a little higher, and I think it's a little different this year. But it doesn't change how we look at our team. Like you said, I thought we played really well towards the end of the season, and we had some really good games, and even that playoff series, we had a really tight series against a great team. So there's definitely a lot of confidence in our room, and we're excited for the season.
One thing that is very apparent watching you guys, and it's happened gradually over the last couple of years, is the size of the team. I used to look at Ryan Johansson. He was one of the bigger guys out there, but I mean, there's just one guy after another. When you look at Myers and Glass and Jeannot and McCarron's out there, the team has just gotten a lot bigger. So how does that affect what you guys can do out there? Because there's a lot of different layers to that.
Yeah, well, I think it affects a lot. I mean, I think you saw it last year that I think especially that fourth line, the way they played. I mean, it's tough to play against for teams. I mean, they're physical, they're fast, they're always in your face, and I think especially like me playing as a D-man, if you have to play against those guys all the time, it wears you down, because they keep hitting you. They're always on you. They never stop. So it's I think that was a big reason last year too. Our physicality went up a lot, and I think you saw it in the result.
How do you feel like, since John Hines has come in, there was definitely a desire, especially after he took over midstream, to have more of this identity that you have, and it seems like now you're starting off with the identity, which is a little bit different than what you've experienced before. But now that you have it set, what do you see going forward? That, because you've played in a totally different system before.
Yeah, I think it took a little bit for us to find our identity. I think we were a little bit lost for a while there, and just having that camp now too. I mean, coach never had a real camp with us, right? We only had the quick camp before the bubble, and then like a quick camp before the last season too. So we really had a lot of time to work on things, and get a couple preseason games. So I think once we started winning, once we started playing a certain way, that's where we found our identity, and we definitely want to keep that up.
Do you notice that there's a little bit of a different mentality from other teams, whereas maybe when you weren't as physically as imposing as a team as you are now, that teams might approach you differently with the physicality part of it? Is there a little more reluctance?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
from the other team.
I think so. I think teams definitely look at us a little bit different. I think every time you go up against a physical team, and I think we are one of the more physical teams in the league, you're in for a long night. It's going to be a tough night. There's no room out there. It's going to be physical, so I think teams definitely have to prepare for that.
We're talking to Roman Yossi, Predators captain, here with us on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. And the opponents you're going to have a full 82-game schedule again, but how do you feel about being back in the real Central Division after last year?
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, obviously a lot of teams we play a lot in the past, and a lot of rivalries we have with some teams, and I think just in general getting back to a normal schedule, playing 82 games is nice. I mean, I think everybody kind of missed it. It's fun. It's fun to play those teams for a while, but I think after you play them 8 or 10 times, you kind of want to play other teams. You want to go to a different city, and I think it'll be a lot more fun.
Did it feel like we all had fun covering last year's divisions because you guys played so much? Did it kind of get to feel like after the third or fourth time it felt like a playoff series just because you knew each other so well?
Yeah, a little bit. I think the more you play teams, the more you kind of start building these rivalries within the team, even different players you play against a lot, and obviously things happen within games, so you get a chance to play them again the next two days. There's definitely some bad blood once in a while too, and it definitely feels like a little bit of a playoff series last year, and just by playing those guys so many times.
So they asked you about Carrier and playing with him, and you had gone through that when playing next to Shea and stuff early in your career, but somebody like Davies that got a cup of coffee here last year, he's had a good camp. What have you seen out of him?
Yeah, he's great. I mean, he's unbelievable with the puck. He's very skilled, great skater. He's looks really confident with the puck out there, and even him last year. I mean, whenever he stepped in, he was great, and he did the same thing this year in camp. So I think he's similar to Carrier, like an unbelievable player, and really took advantage of his chance last year.
With those young guys, as the captain, as a veteran, all those things, how do you go about trying to mentor and teach, but also letting them, do like you did and kind of learning on their own?
Yeah, I think that's important. I think especially as a defenseman, when you come into the league, you're kind of trying to find your game, and you're trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work for you. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time, but obviously I think as a captain, I want to make sure I'm there and leading by example. If they have any questions, obviously I'm happy to help them, but I think, like you said, it's important for them to figure out themselves, and that's what I had to do. I think you come into the league, it takes a little bit because it's a different game, and everything is a little bit different, and you kind of got to find your game.
Okay, I have one more baby question as we wrap this up, because you're bilingual, obviously. How do you go about that with him? Like, do you speak multiple languages around him?
I try to. I try to speak Swiss German whenever I'm alone with him, and obviously it's a little tougher. My wife doesn't speak Swiss German. It's such a hard language to learn. But I definitely want him to speak it, and whenever I'm alone with him, I try to speak Swiss to him. But it'll take some time because it's, like I said, it's a pretty hard language to learn.
Because you speak how many languages?
I mean, I speak 2 or 3. I mean, I speak Swiss German and regular German, but we kind of grow up speaking German. But Swiss German is tough because it's not really a written language. It's just kind of a dialect, but it's a really strong dialect. So you kind of
Southern.
Yeah, even more. Like it's actually funny because we speak German, but Germans don't really understand when we speak Swiss German because it's so different. So so it's tough. You kind of just only learn it by talking.
Sure. So when you're raised in school, were you learning English all the way through? Is that sort of the customary thing?
We learned French first.
French first?
Yeah,
okay.
Because Switzerland, obviously, there's a French part. So a lot of people speak French, so we learned French first, and then we started learning English a little bit later. But we speak German in school, like right away. Like everything on TV is German. We speak Swiss German to each other, but everything in school, like right when you start, is German.
What about English? When did you start to learn English? What age?
Like fifth grade. I probably was like 12, 13 maybe.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you have to be thinking about all these things. It's so different here, where we don't do that here.
Yeah.
A lot of people think we should. You
Yeah.
You should start learning another language when you're young. like that. It makes it a lot easier to learn, I think, when you're that age.
Yeah, it does. And Switzerland, obviously, like, I drive 20 minutes outside of Bern, and people speak French, so you're really close within other languages, so it makes sense to learn it when you're young.
Interesting. Last thing real quick, Roman. There's been a lot of cross-checking calls in the preseason. They're trying to change that up. You've been used to playing a certain way your whole career. Now they're trying to take an element away. How tough is that adjustment going to be? Just things you were able to do in the past, you can't do it.
It's definitely a little different, I think, especially as a D-man. I mean, you're playing against some big guys, strong guys, so like the cross-check always helps to get them off balance a little bit. But I think they're just they don't want those big cross-checks anymore, right? Like when you extend your arms. So I think you just have to adjust a little bit and just give him little cross-checks, I guess. But but it's definitely going to be a little tougher as a D-man.
Thanks for doing this. Good to see you in
no
person.
Problem.
We'll see you in the regular season.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks, Roman.
All right, that is the captain, Roman Yossi, here at Centennial Sports Park. We will come back. Final hour. Pick 6. That's coming up next.
time to be a winner.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Pick this week's games against the spread for all the bragging rights.
You want some bad enough, then you come get some.
Feeling extra confident?
I'm the one true king.
Make that game your top shelf for double points. This is Pick 6. Now on Darren, Daunic, and Chase.
It is Pick 6 time here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Fourth and final hour, live at Centennial Sportsplex. Appreciate Roman Yossi for stopping by and hanging with us. Elijah, how about we turn things over to you for last week's review?
All right, here is the results from last week's Pick 6. Number 1, Cincinnati at Notre Dame. It was a pick-em. Really close game between those two, so it's supposed to be. No points for Darren and Willie as they both take Notre Dame. Cincy wins the game, which is a point for Chase. A worse loss for Willie, as that is a top shelf loss as he top shelf Notre Dame. Willie only 1 of 4 on top shelf picks so far this season.
Struggle.
A very telling stat once we get to the final tally. Ole Miss at Alabama. Bama 14.5-point favorites. Chase and Darren bite on the offensive juggernaut of Lane Kiffin's team. And Willie was a we'll see what happens kind of guy. Takes
Smart
Alabama
man.
and gets the point. Florida at Kentucky. Kentucky 7.5-point underdogs, ends up winning the game outright. That is points for everybody and 2 points for Darren and Chase as they top shelved it. And then Titans at Jets. Jets 6.5-point underdogs also win the game outright. Willie, the only one biting on Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. And then interceptions by Zach Wilson. A, over 1.5, or B, under 1.5.
Nope.
Everyone taking the over on the NFL's interception leader, Zach Wilson, and he only threw one in the game. No points for anybody there. And the most interesting wild card question of the week, Titans leader in receptions. Darren guesses Anthony Ferkser. Willie takes his boy, Nick Westbrook-Akini, and Chase with Chester Rogers. And, well, none of them were the leader in receptions. As everyone would have guessed, the Titans receptions leader against the Jets was the Jeremy McNichols, as he had 8 catches in the game. So our standings after 5 weeks, Darren still leads with 21 points, Willie behind by only 2 at 19, and then Chase, the caboose, at 16. And then top shelves hit, Darren is 3-2 on top shelves. Willie, as we mentioned earlier, 1 of 4, it's killing him so far, and then Chase at 2-3 on his top shelves going into week 6.
So you had me hitting my top shelf last week, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah. I know it's hard to hear with the Zamboni
Honestly,
from
it's
the early
been hard for me to hear.
1900s.
Yeah.
Was this the first Zamboni? I mean, is this a historic, the first Zamboni ever made?
Maybe.
Because this bad boy is loud.
All I want to say is during the entire Roman Yossi interview, I was sitting in another chair, and I just knew that we were going to have a moment.
No, it was not the best.
That chair was about to break.
Was that the one he was in, or you were?
No,
in?
that I was in. I gave him the good one because I
Okay.
anticipated, because I sat in that one earlier, and it buckled a few times, and I thought I was going down.
Oh, that would have been radio
Ouch.
gold if we'd had it on video.
All I want to know is who would have been the first person to help me up. Would it have been you two, Ladarius, or Roman Yossi? Because my guess is Roman.
Roman.
He's a good man.
He shouldn't do it, but he probably would be the one to do it. Yep.
Before we reveal this week's questions, let's quickly throw out there that Mike Vrabel has said he does expect A.J. Brown will be playing this week. So that's a good piece of news.
That's big news.
We'll get more details a little bit later. That's the big one, though, so far. There's been some other little ones. Marcus Johnson, got to make a decision on him, et cetera. But
oh, yeah, he's eligible to,
I
guess, come off IR.
All right, let's get after it.
Number 1.
By the way, this week's winner to pick 6 is going to win tickets to see Zach Brown Band at Bridgestone Arena on Sunday, October 17th. So that is, 9 days away. Zach Brown Band, Bridgestone Arena. Pair of tickets to see that show at Bridgestone Arena on Sunday, October 17th. All right, number 1. South Carolina at Tennessee. That game will kick off in Knoxville at 11 o'clock our time, 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. That'll be aired on ESPN2. Over under Vols points scored. They scored 62 in Columbia against Missouri. We know their offense has been humming along. Is it going to be A, 39 points or less for a point, or B, 40 or more for 2? Chase.
Oof. Did not go straight line with this, which I thought you would. The 10.5 scares me, that hook. But this is interesting. You know what? I will take B.
Oh.
I will say they will put up 40 or more.
Okay.
Wearing the black unis.
They are going to don the black uniforms.
And I like those. I think they look cool.
Al Wilson is going to be recognized.
Oh, is he going in the
at
Ring of Honor?
halftime? Yep.
Nice.
There's going to be a big to-do about Al Wilson. Black uniforms. Probably a big crowd.
Yeah. I say B.
I'm thumbs down on the uniforms, just
that
because
surprises
I think the distinct look of their regular orange. And I'm consistent on this. I didn't like the smoky gray.
Of course you
I didn't like the black when they had it before. I like
change.
Black is not one of the school colors of Tennessee. I like their orange.
But it goes well with
look.
orange.
Well, if you're
Okay,
then have
can I
your
just
colors
say
be
this?
orange and black.
And Vols fans, come at me. I don't care. At Chase on Game. There you go. I'll make it easy for you. For all okay, orange and white. Those are your colors. You're right. Orange and white. But I always hear whenever they did the smoky gray or the black or things that look good, they look
in your
really
opinion.
good on the field, in a lot of people's opinion. But then you got the same people. Their colors are orange and white. They must always wear orange and white. You cannot touch it at all. Like, come on.
I just think that you got a distinct thing where everybody in the country knows who's playing when you play there and you wear your uniforms, and this it looks like Oklahoma State.
You don't like putting the black trim around the power tee on the white?
No, I don't like that at all.
See, I think it looks good.
But I am going to say I think their tempo lends itself to scoring a lot of points. So I think 40 is doable. I'm going to go for the 2.
Willie also
I say
thinks
yes.
that replay shouldn't be in baseball. So,
wow,
that's not true.
I'll
it
go.
was
I'll
for
go,
a long time. It was.
I'll go 39 or less.
So you say A.
Number 2.
After you said you didn't like that, there were a lot of people who said they were shocked to hear you say that. Actually, no one said that. All right, number 2, Penn State at Iowa. Kind of a big deal, 3 versus 4. I would say the winner of this, hey, you're going to put yourself right in the mix of everything at the end. It's Penn State at Iowa, the Hawkeyes giving up 1.5 points. Chase.
One of these teams is going to go 1-0 this week.
Yep.
And I believe it is going to be Jimmy Frank and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Give me Penn State.
Willie.
I really haven't seen Iowa play very much, so I don't have a good feel for them and how they match up.
I saw them rip Maryland to shreds last Friday night.
And, of course, what does that really tell us? I don't know. I'm just flipping a coin on this one. I'll go Iowa.
Willie says the Hawkeyes.
I, too, will go Iowa. They're at home, so I'll go with the home team.
Number 3.
By the way, that's a 3 o'clock kickoff on Fox, if you're looking for that game tomorrow. Number 3, Titans and Jags down in Jacksonville, Sunday noon on CBS. We're going to need the game total from the listeners. Jags getting 4.5. Willie.
Brett Kern officially ruled out. Bud Dupree, a non-commitment. Just all these things to file when you're making your decision here. This is real-time info we're getting. Sharif Finch and Roger Saffold both out of concussion protocol. So that's very encouraging on
Julio
Saffold.
Jones out officially?
He is out. Yes, I'm just reading that. So all that to say, Titans.
Titans minus the 4.5.
I'll take them.
Okay. I, too, will go with them. I'll take Titans minus 4.5. We all got burned last week.
It's been
No, we did not. I had the Jets.
Yeah, he had the Jets.
I absolutely had the Jets.
It's been a rough week down in Jacksonville. A lot of distractions going on with the head coach. So I'm taking the Titans too.
Number 4.
Derrick Henry rushing yards. He's got an opportunity to be in a class all by himself. Yet again, another category. Going for 150 or more rushing yards 4 consecutive road games. Of course, this is dating back to last year. So the question is, Derrick Henry rushing yards. 150 or more, A, for 2 points. 149 or less for 1. Willie.
Whew. I'll go for 2. What the heck?
Again,
they're going to have to give
something else that doesn't surprise us.
They're going to have to give him the ball a lot.
Yeah.
They're going to have to give him the ball a lot. He is all they've got right now. Now, A.J. Brown being back helps, but I'm still waiting to see him find his groove. I want to wait and see. I just think they're going to have to lean on Derrick Henry again. I don't think this is going to be a lopsided game. I think he's going to get the type of carries that will get him to 150.
I'm going to be honest.
Just takes one long run for him to, if he has a normal game and then has one big home run, that's your 150.
I think you made this too low.
I gave you the numbers yesterday on the show. Last year was the first time he's had a big game. Only time he's ever gone over 100 in Jacksonville, which is where Derrick Henry is from. He's actually had some of his lower total games in Jacksonville.
But you've also really promoted that he is generally running better on the road.
Yes, but for whatever reason, his entire career, he's never had 100. He had never had 100 since this. He's been down there 5 times, and last year was the first time he went over 100.
And he went quite a bit over 100 last year.
He went quite a bit over 100 last year.
Mike Vrabel is looking to go 1-4 against rookie quarterbacks, and I think Derrick Henry is going to have a big part of that. So I will take B. Or A. Sorry, A. 2 points.
Well, I'm gonna do it too because I agree with you. I mean, he's really all they have. I mean, if you really get down to it, I mean, their success hinges on him tomorrow.
I think you could have said 175. Like, that's how confident I feel.
Well, the record. I mean, they're going on the barrier for the stat is 150.
Sure, I understand. But I just that's how confident I feel about it. That he goes over.
Top shelf it if you're feeling frisky. Go on.
Well, we haven't gotten to that.
Well, you can do it right now. You can say go ahead and top shelf.
Top shelf.
Okay, there you go, Elijah.
Number 5.
All right, who will have more passing yards? Trevor Lawrence or Ryan Tannehill? Ryan Tannehill, and I'm having all kinds of issues. So what Wi-Fi are you guys on?
The Bridgestone Arena one.
Okay. Tannehill this year, last week 298 against the Colts, 197, 347 in Seattle, 212 in Arizona, or 212 at home against Arizona. So 212, 347, 197, 298. Trevor Lawrence this year has had 332, 118, 219, 204. He's played better defenses, I will say that, than the Titans, in my opinion.
This comes down to me.
So who will have more passing yards?
This one comes down to me on who will the Titans figure out a way to not give up the big chunks that we illustrated earlier in the week. We went through how time of possession has inverted from last year because this defense has gone from being a team that couldn't get off the field because they're giving up all these third down conversions to now the problem is they're doing much better in that category, the third down efficiency, but they're giving up these huge plays. That's the key to this question.
Yep.
And the Titans have become more of a station-to-station, 10 yards at a time. They're not getting the big passing yards. So I'll say prove it.
Doesn't have his, the loaded,
Right.
doesn't have all of his weapons. So that does factor in too. Although DJ Shark is out. He's on IR in Jacksonville. So I'm going to start this.
That I didn't
and-
know. That I didn't know.
Yeah, Shark is out. I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence. A.
Okay, I'm going to sort of hedge by also saying Tannehill. That way I'm going to protect myself against a really bad week. Because I don't know if it's going to be – I don't know if they're going to roll up so many yards. Like if I say Henry's going to have over 150, then that probably makes it less likely that Tannehill's going to throw for 350.
But
So
you
I'm going to sort of hedge. I'm going to say Tannehill.
Okay, so you want to try to win one category is what you're doing.
At least.
Okay.
And if the perfect storm happens, then good. That means good things for the Titans.
Well, I think it'll happen. Give me Tannehill.
Okay. So you're saying they're going to
six.
Sunday night game, it's a big one. Bills-Chiefs. Chiefs took both last year against Buffalo. Buffalo at Kansas City. That is the NBC game of the week. The Chiefs are favored by 2.5. I'm going to take the Bills on this one. I think the Bills are going to break through and win. Chiefs defense, not that good this year. Bills are humming along. What you got?
I'll take Bills, and I will take them top shelf.
Oh, okay.
The Bills are balling right now.
Yep. I will too take the mighty Bills of Buffalo.
Their defense has been off the charts good. Now, they have not played an offense like the Chiefs. That's going to be the thing to watch, but they're coming in there. They're coming in there very confident.
I'm going to take 39 or less as my top shelf.
For the Vols?
Yep, rush for points.
Okay. All right.
And Willie, you said Bills, top
Yep.
shelf? Okay.
And I said Derrick Henry.
You said Derrick Henry. All right.
So that would be a three-pointer if I hit that.
Yep. All right, Jeremy, Shane, you guys will lead things off. Zach Brown tickets on the line for this week's Pick 6 winner. Don't forget, if you call in, you get 2 top shelf picks. You can certainly play along at thegamenashville.com, but you will only get 1 top shelf pick. So there is that. We will come back and get your phone calls on the other side at 615-737-1025. That is our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Right now I'm going to talk to you about DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. And right now, their Week 5 offer is for every football fan to jump on board with this. New customers, listen up. All you have to do is bet $1 on any NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That's right. The last time there was a 0-0 tie in the NFL, 1943. I would say this is in the no-brainer category. DraftKings customers can also get skin in the game with new same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for bigger payouts. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use that code 1025GAME and bet $1 on any NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That code you need to use again, 1025GAME, this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 years of age or older, Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. Hey, if you want to win a pair of tickets to see Daughtry at the Ryman, that'll be November 3rd. Head over to YouTube and subscribe to 1025 The Game's YouTube page. That's all you have to do. And you'll automatically be entered for a chance to see Daughtry. Once you subscribe, email us at promotions@cromwellmedia.com with your YouTube handle. One winner will be chosen on Monday, October 11th. So this upcoming Monday, a winner will be chosen to go see Daughtry at the Ryman on November 3rd. So cool. Where are you going to be on Saturday?
I am going to be at the Brew House on Highway 100, hanging out there watching the game starting at 2:30, Chasers Tailgate. So come by there, Brew House, Highway 100. It's right there in that shopping center. You cannot miss it. We'll be there starting at 2:30 watching Georgia and watching the game of the week, the other games going on, beer specials.
And at 3 o'clock?
Penn State, Iowa.
Penn State, Iowa.
And?
The Braves.
And?
what are you doing here?
Will there be a Bally Sports?
We'll have that on.
Okay. Just make sure. You got a lot of TVs. I'm not asking. I'm not asking for a takeover, but if you could get that on one of the channels, that'd be.
We'll have that on.
Much appreciated.
I'm just looking forward to watching
Bally Sports.
Greg Maddox pitch for the Braves, and I think that'll be good.
Is that ESPN Classic?
Yes, yes. David Justice has had a really good postseason.
Yeah, Marquise Grissom.
Yep.
8098 Highway 100 is the exact address. Okay.
We do have the broadcast on.
Let's go to our
Bally Sports, 3 o'clock.
Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Let's go to Jeremy. You're up first. Welcome in.
Afternoon, fellas.
All right, Jeremy, we're going to start off, if I can pull up my questions here.
I got it, Willie.
South Carolina at Tennessee at 11 a.m. The question is points for the Vols in their black Halloween jerseys. 39 or less, 40 or more.
40 or more.
40 or more, and that would get you an extra point. That would get you an extra point. So you're going for 2. The next one is Penn State at Iowa. The Hawkeyes are a 1.5-point favorite.
Iowa.
You go on Iowa. Remember, you get 2 top shelves. The next one is Titans at Jags. The Jaguars are a 4.5-point dog at home, and we also need your game total.
Let's go Titans, and let's go 46 points.
All right. Now we get to the big man, the king, Derrick Henry. You got 2 choices on his rushing yards, 150 or more, which would get you 2. 149 or less would get you just 1.
And I think they're going to put 9 in the box to stop Henry this week, so I'm going to go 149 or less.
Okay. Who has more passing yards? Which quarterback? Trevor Lawrence, Ryan Tannehill?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. And then finally, the Sunday night game, Bills at Chiefs at Arrowhead. Chiefs favored by 2.5.
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
We got 2 top shelves.
First top shelf is Tennessee, the Vols, and then second, let's go Buffalo.
All right.
All right, so Buffalo is 1, Tennessee 40 or more.
Yep.
Is the other one.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Jeremy, have a great weekend. Thank you.
All right, same to y'all. Have a good day.
All right. 615-737-1025. Let's go to Shane. Shane, you're up next. Welcome into Pick 6.
We're going, guys.
All right, Shane, we're starting off with the big orange and black against South Carolina. How many points? 39 or less, 40 or more. You get an extra point if you say 40 or more and they hit it.
Say 39 or less.
39 or less. Penn State at Iowa. Iowa favored by 1.5 against Jimmy Frank.
I'm taking Penn State top shelf.
Penn State top shelf. Titans at Jags. We need a point game total.
48.
48. And who do you like? Titans are a 4.5-point favorite.
Titans.
Titans. Derrick Henry rushing yards. A, 150 or more for 2. B, 149 or less. That would get you 1.
We say over.
Over. More passing yards. Lawrence or Tannehill?
We'll say Tannehill, and I don't think he's going to outgun Lawrence. I think they're just going to shut Lawrence down this weekend.
Ooh, okay. You still have another top shelf to work with here. Bills at Chiefs.
Taking Bills top shelf.
Bills top shelf plus 2.5. Boom.
All right, Shane. Good luck. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
615-737-1025 is our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Mike is up next. Welcome into Pick Six.
All right, Mike. Let's go to Knoxville. Tennessee against South Carolina. 39 or less on the board for Tennessee, or will they get 40 or more?
39.
39 or less for one. That's choice A. Penn State at Iowa. Big game in the Big Ten. 2 top 5 teams.
Let's go with Iowa.
Iowa minus 1.5. Titans at Jags. Down in Jacks.
I think the Titans.
Titans minus 4.5. Your game total.
54.
Derrick Henry rushing yards. 150 or more. 149 or less.
150 and more. Double top shelf.
Oh.
Okay, so you're going for 2 and then 2 top
Going
shelf.
for 4. No.
So he can get a max of 4 there.
Whew.
That is putting your eggs in one basket. Who will have more passing yards? Trevor Lawrence, Ryan Tannehill?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. And then finally, Bills at Chiefs.
Bills.
Bills plus 2.5 on Sunday night.
All right, Mike. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
That could be a big statement for the Bills if they go in there and win that thing.
Yeah. I asked Tim Hasselback on Wednesday. I said, has the AFC caught up with the Chiefs? That's my question to him.
Which you knew it would eventually. Or you thought it would.
And it doesn't have to be the whole conference because that Bills team is they're catching up. They've caught up to a lot of teams. That's the one team they haven't.
You want to talk about how the Titans are going to stack up. It's going to be a 2-week stretch when they play Buffalo and Kansas City.
They got the Rams in there. This is
but in the AFC,
heavy hitters. Heavy hitters coming for the Titans after this game.
Let's go to Jason. Jason, you're up next. Welcome into Pick Six.
Hey, thanks, guys.
All right, Jason. South Carolina, Tennessee. Over, under for Vols points, 39 or less for 1 point, 40 or more for 2 points.
Give me 39 points or less.
All right, so he takes A. Penn State at Iowa. Iowa minus 1.5.
Give me Iowa and make that one of my top shelves.
Titans at Jags. Jags plus 4.5. Also need the game total.
Give me Jags. Game total is 45 points.
Derrick Henry rushing yards. 150 or more for 2 or 149 or less for 1.
Give me 150 or more.
Who will have more passing yards, Trevor Lawrence or Ryan Tannehill?
Give me Trevor Lawrence.
Bills at the Chiefs on Sunday night. Chiefs minus 2.5.
Give me the Bills and make that my other top shelf.
All right. You got all 2? Okay. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys.
All right, the rest of you, we will get off the air. The rest of you can also play along thegamenashville.com. So don't forget, we do have weekly winners. Keep that in mind. We'll come back, get the shots of the week, and wrap up Friday's edition of Darren, Daunic, and Chase. But first, Willie, you've got a word about Loan Pronto.
All right. Loan Pronto. Remember, they've even gotten better numbers for you right now. Better. The loan APR rates are so low these days, it's just incredible. So take advantage of what they have to offer for you. They're on the move. Don't miss this chance to lock in the best rate of your lifetime. Loan Pronto can be phoned today. I'm using the Canadian term, phone. Phone your buddy. 615-499-5780 is how you phone Loan Pronto. And what you want to do is take advantage of their super popular zero-cost refi program. So many people are doing this right now. They're locking in that rate with an APR in the low 2s. So if you're at like 2.75 or higher, you need to make that call. 615-499-5780. Even if you refinance less than a year ago, they can help you. They're going to save you money. Loan Pronto's all-digital process is fast and easy. Virtually no paperwork required. Most loans get closed in 14 days. And if you act right now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Here's that phone number one more time, 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender.
NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible for zero-cost option.
You know what that means? As Darren says, we are rounding third and headed for home as we wrap up a great week here at Centennial Sportsplex. Today, the Predators have wrapped up practice. For today, they will have their final tune-up in the preseason tomorrow at Bridgestone Arena. We'll have all that coverage for you starting at 2 o'clock here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. But as we do every Friday to wrap up the week, let's get to our best shots.
Just not a big shot guy.
Yeah,
I never have been.
No, me either.
And so I like it because I like peanut butter and I obviously like whiskey, and that's my go-to. So I just take it as a shot. But I've also had it like on the rocks, in a glass, and it's really good. You just sip it.
I'm just going to reveal something I shouldn't do, but I'm going to because I don't care. Whatever. It's true. Have you ever cheated on shots?
I can neither confirm.
Have you ever fooled the group?
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
He's Paul Feinbaum. He's brought to you by mtgrt.com, your live and local mortgage expert. Paul, good morning. Urban Meyer, your thoughts?
I I think every day that he continues as the head coach of the Jaguars is one more day of disarray and dysfunctionality for that program, and he just needs to go. I don't think it's really a tough decision. I think when the owner comes out 4 games into the season and essentially says you have to win our trust back, you're gone. You guys understand the NFL better than I do, and if I understand the reports correctly, after Urban walked in that locker room and apologized the other day, he got laughed at. But that's just who he is. He's a joke. He was a great college football coach, but as an NFL coach, he's a total fraud.
Getting some wisdom from Bernard Pollard. It makes me appreciate, Bernard, the defensive players who still flourish, given the rules the way they are right now. It is so set up for the offense to do well. I'm sure you would agree.
Exactly. It's set up for the offense to do well, and it just sucks because offensive players are pushing off. I was looking at, I think it was yesterday, whenever it was, you're looking at all of these shifts, and guys are literally running towards the line of scrimmage and then moving off. And they're saying, okay, well, that's a shift or that's a motion. No, it's not. You're trying to get the defense to jump off sides. Like, that's cheap. Like, so it's so weird for me to watch all of this, and I'm just looking like, this is crazy. So they lucky I ain't playing no more, because I would have tried to slap every sucker running and everything. and I'd have took some players out the game, because we'd have figured this thing out real quick.
Talking to Caleb Joseph.
Fenway sucks. I mean, it really does. People, oh my goodness, when I was playing in the AL East, you get to play at Yankee Stadium and Fenway Park, before the games. Welcome to Fenway Park, America's most beloved ballpark. And I'm going, there's nothing beloved about this place at all. Like, nothing. It's funky. Like, it's like somebody came in that had a late night the night before and designed this field. There's like, get out of town. Who would put a wall and then this crazy long right center angle and then the weird bullpens and then let's wrap it all the way around and call it Pesky's Bowl? Like, who thinks of this? Like, somebody was drunk when they decided to design that, and it's a headache.
There's no reason for there's never a reason to apologize for going out. You can go out and be responsible and go out and have fun and not be a viral video that everybody's talking about.
I did that last night.
Yeah. I mean, you can do that. You're allowed to do that. No matter what profession you're in, you're allowed to do that. Apologizing for being, I mean, I don't know what the right word.
Well, it's
He's apologizing for putting his family in an awkward spot.
The video speaks for itself, but
think about his family right now.
It's not
He's
just
put them in a bad spot, because now what? You think they want to be out in public? You think they want to be on social media? Anybody with the last name Meyer? Nope. Thanks, Herb. Thanks, Dad.
Right. Because they're going to get asked about it and have to deal with that over and over and over.
Right.
Then the video is out there forever.
Forever. I'm debating if I should read this text on the air or not. But it's pretty funny. When in doubt, maybe not.
Well, I'm not seeing it, so that's in your lap.
He needs to listen to himself. This is from Keith. He needs to listen to himself instead of Oscar Mayer.
Okay, we'll take a break. Yep. We knew that's probably how it was going to be. Shots of the week. Good stuff, Elijah. Thank you for that. It's been a fun week of shows. White Sox leading the Stros 1-0 in the second. Game 2. Chicago trying to even up the series. Chase's Bravos coming up in about a little bit less than 2 hours. Hour 45. Bravos and Brew Crew.
Who's pitching?
Mike Hampton.
They've changed.
Mike Hampton.
Mike Hampton. Oh, he's hurt. Elijah, he's hurt.
Hard hit. Tib
He
Hudson?
pitches for the Mets, Mike Hampton.
Yeah,
he
Tim
got up to the
Hudson.
World Series one year.
I'll take Huddy.
Oh, Mike made a lot of money.
He really did.
Lots of money.
He spurned the Mets and collected large checks from the Rockies.
Yes, he did.
At one point, he was getting paid by the Rockies to pitch for the Braves.
Which was like
Yes,
in the
he was double
movie
dipping.
Moneyball, right, with David Justice.
Sure was.
Your team is paying us to have you play for us.
Yeah. White Sox won, Houston nothing. That game in the bottom of the second. White Sox down a game. Lucas Giolito, the commercial you see all the time, the worst pitcher in baseball the one year. And then he's turned out to be pretty good now.
Yeah, he's turned out to be all
good.
right.
He's good.
I loved the stealing home last night. That was awesome.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Action plays, excitement. Did you see the crowd reaction? Like,
tell
please, can we do that more?
Although, like, how many times are we going to need to see Tampa have a ball lost in the lights, hit something up on the roof,
hit the
C-ring, not know if it's a home run or not.
So that was because I read that there was a confusion on a home run.
It's the craziest ballpark ever built. It's not a ballpark. It's
We've been there.
awful.
Yeah.
I've been there for a hockey game and for a baseball game.
I just remember walking in with Darren and just going,
really?
Yep.
Yeah,
this lives up to everything you've heard about
It's
it.
just not good.
We had great seats.
But the
We
boomstick,
did.
the former Nashville Sound, Nelson Cruz hit the C-ring, which is an automatic home run.
So that's what it
The Rays the Red Sox had chances. They had guys on base. They got a lot of hits, but they could never get the big hit, never could dent the Rays. And the Rays had a guy that probably most of the national audience had never seen pitch before or never heard of, McClanahan, and shut him down.
Mowed him down.
Shut him down for 5 or 6, and then they brought in the no-name relievers that they have.
So just
they
let me
used
ask you.
40 pitchers this year,
I know.
4-0, and they're all good.
I can do this because we're at the end of the show, so Willie won't be able to go too nuts. So what do you make of – so they got second, third, and they've got the shift on, and they're just letting him do whatever he wants, and nobody's holding him. Like, what do you make of that? Playing the shift in that spot.
You're
It's
saying
just
when he stole
basically
home?
they're not letting him steal home, but, I mean, they're almost begging him to steal home.
Yeah, Rafael Devers was playing – closer to
playing
Orlando.
He was playing closer to second base than he was
he was
third
close.
base.
He was in Orlando. He was another time zone over. He was way over there. Yeah, and still the pitcher too. He's so locked in. You know, he's a left-hander, so he's facing away from Arozarena, and he never looked. And so those two things. He only makes it by a little bit. He's a really fast runner, Arozarena. That's what it takes to steal home. But he made it easy because of that. I do hope that the game cycles back around to, if teams are going to do these shifts and stuff, take advantage. These are things that are there.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, why
take
don't
advantage.
you? Yeah.
They should. They should more than they do. I hope it
There's an
keeps
idea.
going.
Lay down a bunt.
And Randy Arozarena, by the way, hit another home run. He was
did.
a rookie last year. He's still a rookie. He came up in the postseason. He had 10 homers in the postseason last year. Another one. He's got 11 for his career. Remember we were talking about third baseman all the time. So that's 11. He would be the all-time postseason home run hitter for 21 teams. And he's done it in one season plus one game.
How many people even know him? Right?
Well, if you watched the postseason last year, you had to know him. He was the out of nowhere 10 home runs in one postseason. He came back with a pretty good year this year. He's exciting.
First player to hit a home run and still home in postseason.
In the same
play.
game.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Same game.
That was
Guys,
awesome.
I'm really excited. Ryan Klesko is going to bat fifth tonight.
All right.
so
Okay.
got
Go
this.
Braves.
Mark Lemke batting right behind him? Okay.
Preds, Hurricanes, final preseason game
Shake off the
tomorrow
cobwebs.
afternoon in Bridgestone. Puck drop at 3 o'clock. Pregame for you at 2. Everything heard right here on 102.5 The Game. Plus, you can watch it. Willie, Chris Mason, and crew. Valley
Chip
Sports.
Tracy, special guest star.
Yep. Have a great weekend. Continue to be safe. We want to react with you on Monday morning at 10 a.m. We'll see you then. Stay tuned. Stillman & Company is next.